Football fans across the country, what's going on? We got another episode of Awthentik in the Beard. We in the building one time. Giants Nation is in the building one time. I don't know about y'all, man, but this week feeling real lengthy, man. Like, that loss to the Washington football team feels like it was last month. Instead, it was just a couple days ago. We're looking at last week. Can't wait to chop it up on that game. We got a couple of big games we got to go over here. The Eagles at the Niners, the Cowboys at the Chargers. Both interesting games. Puts the top of the division at 1-1, and my lonesome New York Giants at the bottom of the division at 0-2. Without further ado, let me bring in my co-host, the Beard Left Side.
Strong side.
Hey,
biceps
flexing.
in the chat early.
Early in the building. What's good, man? How you living, bro?
Hey, man, you know me. I'm living large as can be. Before I say anything, though, I must give a big shout-out to my future mother-in-law. It is her birthday today, so happy birthday to you if you're tuning in right now.
Happy
big
birthday,
shout-out
my
to
dudes.
you. Happy birthday. So, yeah,
That's
I
what's
mean,
up, man.
it was kind of crazy because it feels like Thursday was last month, and then these 4 o'clock games this last Sunday were some of the best football that we've been able to watch so far. I mean,
Yeah.
each one of those games came down to one possession. Obviously, the Tampa Bay and Atlanta game got a little out of control with those 2 pick sixes. I mean, that dude got 2 pick sixes by himself.
Like back-to-back.
It was insane. So, like, you know, a lot of, like, missed opportunities by a lot of teams, but a lot of good football. Fantasy football has been hurting me a little bit lately, but, you know, it still feels good because Washington got a W, and my voice has finally come back to life. Because, I mean, my voice was hurting still on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I definitely peeped that. But you're right, man, with some good games. And I think Atlanta is a surprise team, you know. Although they did get beat by, you know, margin there, they hung real close all the way down to the fourth quarter. Still, we're entering week 3 now, and it's still kind of hard. I feel like there's a couple teams out there that are very difficult to still gauge, Atlanta Falcons being one of them. And I got to put the Eagles on that list too, man. Very difficult to gauge what's going on with these teams. Playing some teams that are kind of on the cusp of being good. I also think it's hard to gauge the Bengals, man. The Bengals in that Bears game was interesting. I don't know where to put the Bears, and I don't know where to put the Bengals, man. The Bears defense showed up. Surprised they got that win, man. And the Vikings, I think, are another team kind of in that mix, too.
I was literally just going to say that because the Vikings, if you think about it, they've lost on the last play their first 2 games. Because in the first game against the Bengals, you know, they end up going to overtime, and then they lose in overtime on a field goal. And then this game, they had the opportunity. What was crazy was that literally they're kicking the field goal in the Vikings-Cardinals game at the same time as they're kicking the field goal for the Chargers-Cowboys game.
Oh, yeah.
And the Cowboys kicker makes a, what was it, 50?
It on Sunday. I killed it. Raiders pick, Ravens pick. Man, I was getting busy, man, definitely.
And Simon remembers. He says, I do believe you predicted every single upset last week, Awthentik.
My man. Real recognized real, Simon. That's my dude right there.
Shout out to the homie Cernak in the building. Shout out to Cernak,
Hey,
his
Cernak,
soccer
what up,
team.
fam?
You know, he's a soccer coach now. They won
yeah.
their first game 4-0.
Congratulations
so
on the dub,
season.
man. Impressive dub. 4-0. Yeah, let's get it. So y'all
Cody
got 2
Jents.
safeties in that game? Say, no, I'm just playing. Cody in the building. What's
Cody's
up, man?
in the building. Who else we got in the building right now?
I see Tonio
Tonio Bot
yeah,
in the
what's
building.
Up? What's up, Tonio?
Oh, you know it. We're here. We're live with the rec. We ready to go.
Yes, sir.
And big shout out to the Cardinal Rule. They got a dope YouTube channel. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe to the Cardinal Rule. They are 2-0 right now.
Yeah, man, they're looking really impressive right now, man. I like what I'm seeing out the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, man, I think he had 2 interceptions in that game, but outside of that, man, the dude is just making plays on the field, man. Big throw to Rondale Moore, man. I love the scramble and the throw, man, and then Rondale Moore finishes the play with the touchdown, man. It was great play.
Yeah, and then last but not least, JJ Stengel, Julissa, and a couple of pickers are all in.
Oh, Julissa's in the building. What's up, fam? What's up, man?
Woo! Football, baby.
Football, you gotta love it, man. You got to love it, man. I was watching Pat McAfee earlier, man, and he was talking about how they were struggling during the offseason. Like, you know, he was having some sleepless nights. He was talking about, like, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? And now that football season is here, you know, you really don't got to worry about that, man. It kind of just takes care of itself, which is amazing because we got some great games, and we're still early in the season. I love it.
Have you caught any of the Eli Payton, like, alternative broadcasts?
They're amazing. Yo, Peyton Manning, watching a football game with Peyton Manning doing, announcing, you really learn a lot, kind of like what I was just telling you off air about Kurt Warner, man. Everybody sub up to Kurt Warner's YouTube channel, man, because he's breaking down plays, breaking down schemes, breaking down philosophies of some of these coaches, and he did a really good one on Daniel Jones and Jason Garrett this past week. It's on my Twitter. If you dig through my tweets, I had it on there, man. But just great breakdown. I mean, insight that you're not going to get from a fan perspective, just really from a quarterback and a coaching kind of perspective is awesome.
Monday Night Manning.
Monday Night Manning. I see you, Mr. Mini Guy. Yeah, that it was already a brilliant idea. I like that name right there, too, though. That's definitely what's up. But you want to get in this first game, man? I mean,
let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll.
All right. As McConaughey would say, and my man Kevin Hart one time. Eagles at the 49ers. I think I got this one wrong. Wasn't it Eagles at 49ers? Or was it 49ers at Eagles?
No, it's 49ers at Eagles because the 49ers stayed on the East Coast for this game.
So my graphic is right. My notes are wrong. Eagles fall to the 49ers 17-11. I thought this was pretty funny, man. I was watching some media on the TV, and Bart Scott said he would shave an eyebrow if the Eagles beat the 49ers. Eagles definitely take that L, so Bart Scott gets to keep two brows on his face, which is an amazing thing. Jalen Hurts came back a little bit down to earth, sort of, in this game. 12 of 23 for 190 yards passing. He had 10 rushes for 82 yards and 1 touchdown, 272 total yards, 0 sacks on the day, and that is the advantage you get from having a mobile quarterback on the field. The one blemish on his statistics was his completion percentage. I believe he was in the low 50s. Not great for a guy like him who's trying to improve and get a lot better with the completion percentage. Sirianni definitely simplified the game plan for him. I like what I saw out of that. They were in this game. I got a little nugget here. Jalen Hurts has fumbled 8 times in 7 games. In 7 total starts, he's fumbled 8 times. They're not giving him that Daniel Jones treatment quite yet because he's only lost 2 of the 8 fumbles. So there's that. I think this game really came down to just a couple of plays, man. And I don't want to, scratch off a lot of your notes, but I'm going to get to one note. Jalen Reagor had that perfect pass from Jalen Hurts. I mean, a perfect pass, catches the ball. They had to call the play back because he stepped out of bounds before he actually caught the ball. Might have forgot about that one. And for me, that was the most pivotal point in this game because at that moment, the Eagles are winning the game already, I believe 3-0 or maybe 7-0. I can't remember. I think it was 3-0 actually. You go up there with a 2-score lead. I think you guys could maybe start working on putting that game away. The 49ers were only able to put up 17 points in this game, and I felt like the Eagles let them hang around. Myself, I underestimated the Eagles in this, the 49ers in this game, and I picked the Eagles to win this game. But the one thing that the 49ers have going for that team is their defense, man. That defense is solid, and I think they did a really good job of containing Jalen Hurts and making him do things outside the pocket where he couldn't use his legs, where he had to throw the ball downfield. And you saw a couple of throws there from Jalen Hurts that were right on target almost, but 49ers making some good plays in the secondary, and their linebackers doing a good job of covering. I'm still high on Jalen Hurts. I don't think this game takes away from his 2021 legacy as of yet. I like what he did. You talked about this with me off air a little bit. 82 yards on 10 rushes. Those are like running back numbers. Those are like numbers you could see out of a guy like Miles Sanders, who was relatively quiet in this game. I don't got the box numbers right next to me. But what was your thoughts on this game? Outside of Jalen Hurts pretty much having a decent game, completion percentage on the low, what other things did you see in this game that made you go,
Well, the Eagles' defense, I think it's safe to say now, obviously, we saw what the 49ers did in their first game against, the Lions and the amount of points they put up, albeit it was against the Lions. But still, the Eagles, 2 games so far have, been very, productive on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that was one of their, weaker aspects of their team last season. And, it's not like anything dramatically changed roster-wise, but, they made some moves and obviously the new coaching staff. But their defense is a lot better than I think most people anticipated them being this year for sure. And, I mean, Jalen Hurts, the completion percentage was, that's been something that they were cause of concern about Jalen Hurts going into this season. I think that's something that's just going to be a game in and game out sort of situation. The 49ers defense is really good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Javon Kinlaw, who's a second-year player for the 49ers, had some big plays in this game also. But, I mean, think about it. They contained George Kittle, which is not easy to do. And Deebo Samuel got out there. And, I mean, the 49ers lost. I want to say at one point in time, all 3 of their running backs got hurt in this game. Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, and Jermichael Hasty. They
Trey
all got
Sermon was
hurt
on
in
his
this
first
game.
carry, wasn't it?
Yep.
I think it was his first carry. And I saw the hit, man. It was a nasty hit.
Yeah, it's insane.
funny.
This like they're like the Baltimore Ravens, but in real time. You know, like the way these running backs are going down. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo made some big plays with his legs in this game too. So you know, like that's something that you kind of as people who are going to be playing the Eagles in the future, right? So like Danny Dimes, Dak, and Taylor Heineke, you know, are all quarterbacks who can make some plays with their legs. So, you know, from that perspective of me, like, you know, watching the Eagles defense and being like, okay, how are we going to, you know, attack this Eagles defense that's playing really well? And being able to use your legs as a quarterback is starting to look like something that the Eagles might be having a little bit more difficulty defending as opposed to the pocket passing, you know, of Jimmy G in this game specifically. So, I mean, but Jalen Reagor, that play, it's like, I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about it. You know, as a receiver, like that's something that, do you blame that just on a mental mistake, not having the right feel, or was it something that the defender did that kind of like bounced him off of his normal trajectory?
Yeah, I go with the latter.
Or a combination of the all three, you know?
I go with the latter because the cornerback in coverage there was forcing them outside, and they always say that the sideline is another defender. Use it as another defender. And he was just, you know, shading them outside and barely stepped out of bounds. I mean, and a perfect throw. That's the one thing I've noticed from Jalen Hurts this season. The throws are more accurate for sure. And deep down the field, he had 2 in this game. And
his deep ball accuracy is insane.
Yeah, you know, we got to bring up the
really
one to
good.
Watkins. I mean, he was on his own 8-yard line. Chucked
I
that thing
say
like
he was
65,
in the end zone
70.
by the time
when he threw it, he
yeah.
was in the end zone. But they're starting on their own 8-yard line. He takes like a 9-step drop pretty much. He's in the end zone, lets the thing fly, and Quez Watkins makes a beautiful catch on a it looked like a Darius Slayton type play. You know what I'm saying? Like the ball just right there. Like, and we know that Daniel Jones, as far as the Giants go, he's throwing a great deep ball too. And to see Jalen Hurts improve on that, you could tell that's something that he was working on in the offseason. The one unfortunate thing about that pass is that they don't end up scoring on that drive. They get down to like the 6-yard line or like 7-yard line, and then they get a penalty, pass interference on Josh Norman, I believe it was. Josh Norman's a 49er now, right? Kind of interesting.
Just signed with them this last week.
Yeah, and I thought he was out the league. It's really interesting, but gets a pivotal PI penalty there, right? And you get down to like the 3-yard line and you can't score, you know? And big ups to that rookie. I forget who it was that was in coverage for the 49ers. It's a rookie cornerback they got over there who, even though Quez Watkins catches that in stride, and you can see Quez try to turn the burners on. Quez is fast, man. It's almost like he doesn't lose a step from when he catches the ball and tries to turn on the juice to get to the end zone. Rookie makes a great play on that, tackles him. Now, this is the part that I know a lot of Eagles fans are scratching their head about, and I definitely wanted to ask you about this. Now, 1st and goal, they were actually on the 1-yard line after the penalty. You get 1st and goal from the 1-yard line after the Josh Norman penalty. Now, you go incomplete pass to Ertz on 1st down. You go run on 2nd down to Miles Sanders. He pretty much gets stuffed up, doesn't get nothing. Might have lost one, actually. And then on the 3rd play, you go zone read, and Jalen Hurts keeps it. He can't get in. So then on the 4th play, you say, screw it. We're going for it on 4th down. You run a reverse pass with Greg Ward, I believe, which when he first gets the reverse, I'm like, oh, he's going to walk in. I thought he was going to walk in. Somehow the 49ers defense recovers. They pursue him. He has to, you know, it looked like it was an option play where he could either throw it or run it. He holds the ball to the last second, tries to throw it, pretty much just has to throw it away, and they come away with 0 points there. They only had 2 possessions in the red zone all day. That was the one that they failed on. Now, this is the thing I wanted to bring this up about, and I know we haven't got to the Giants game yet, but we saw it on Twitter, a lot of people giving Jason Garrett and mainly Joe Judge a lot of flack about the way they called that game at the end and the play sequence that the Giants used after getting the interception from James Bradbury when we were in the Washington football team's red zone, right? And they called it pretty much like a little stale, a little vanilla, making fun of Garrett and whatnot. Is this being creative right here? Because you went pass on 1st down, run on 2nd down. You went zone read on 3rd down to try to get them a little bit off balance, and then you go reverse pass. So, like, when we're talking about creativity, is this what fans want to see, you know, when you're in the red zone?
I hope not, because, listen, as soon as you said reverse, 4th down and reverse, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with – listen, if you're that close – because, look, those plays don't work really well when you don't have a lot of space, right? And especially like on a 4th down, Like it just rubs me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not
like,
too upset with the fourth down call because look, like you're on the 1 yard line.
I mean, you know me, I'm old school. I'm old school.
I understand the space, right? I do get that because now it's like your secondary has no drop back, right? You're on the 1 yard line. You're working with 11 yards of field to be able to get things done. Your deepest defender is going to be in the back of the end zone. I get that part, right? But I'm not too mad at the reverse play because think about this. Like when you see Philly run Philly special in the Super Bowl, are you looking at them like, what are y'all doing? No, and then you see Tom Brady come back and do it
because they made it. But if they didn't make it,
now you see my point. You see my point, right?
Yeah,
that's how fans are. It's like, yo, when the team don't get it, we can go, oh, what the hell are they doing, right? And then when they play it conservative, you go, oh, they're too conservative. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to red zone play calling.
It's like pulling up for a 3-pointer 40 feet behind the line. It's like coach is like, don't shoot it, and then it goes in. He's like,
and then Steph Curry's walking back.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I think it's interesting the actual 4, play calls, right? And I think just the order in which the play calls went down, I think is what threw me off. Like for me, if I'm gonna
what do you run? What do you run there? 4 plays. Let's call it the 5 yard line to give you a little bit more, options here instead of like I'm just gonna run it 4 times.
Are we in the middle or are we in the left hash or the right hash? Because that's to me, I'm a big hash guy. You know what I'm saying?
Call it middle.
Okay. So I'm going to run the RPO first.
Okay,
that's going to be my first play.
All right, they shut that down. Then what?
They shut that down, and we're on the 5, but we were on the 1, I thought. If we're on the 1, I want a quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
Right up. Listen, not enough people were running quarterback sneaks on 4th down.
I feel you. We see him get stopped too. Quarterback sneaks get stopped on 4th down.
Tom Brady does it all day, no problem.
But he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT at the quarterback sneaks, man. He's the GOAT at that. And if you got a big body too, I understand it. But Jalen Hurts, he's kind of a small guy.
Yeah, so
maybe you bring in somebody else to run it. Bring in a lineman to run the quarterback sneak.
Little fullback dive, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Like the fullback dive? Do you pass it at all in this situation?
Dive. That's why I think it's best to pass the ball on 1st down.
And I do like that they passed it on 1st down in that sequence. I thought that was the right call. 4th down, you might have tried to get a little bit too fancy, because you don't get it. We could say that.
So it's interesting though, and I think that's just you get a lot more repetitions. Am I saying that right? Repetitions.
Yeah, sure. You get a lot more repetition.
Yeah, repetition.
Sure.
Repetition.
Timisms. You get a lot more reps.
As the season goes on, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can kind of get more of a feel of your red zone offense. Because if you notice, not just in this game, but around the league in general, red zone's opportunities have been abysmal so far this season.
For sure.
It's just like, because I think a lot of that has to do with the way that the game is being played right now. Everything being so spread out. If you don't score on those big plays, when you get into that spacing situation, a lot of the playbook, it gets shrunk, because there's just not the same amount of space for the routes to be run. So it's like it's easier to defend. And then like sometimes you have people getting too cute with it. So it's like it's just a little weird for me that these red zone offenses have been really bad lately. I
think you got to just chalk that up to early in. Yeah, you early in the season. I was watching Michael Kay and Peter Rosenberg talking about this too, and they were talking about Daniel Jones. They were like, yo, if you could play the game between the 20 and the 20, Daniel Jones is like the best quarterback in the league. But then once you get in the red zone, he can't put the ball in. You guys saw it last week with the Chargers, man. Like, you guys held them to 2 for 6 in the red zone. I like to call it 2 for 7 because one of them was like on the 28-yard line. So like teams are struggling across the board as far as the red zone goes. And I think you got to chalk it up to just early play. Like teams are going to get better as the year goes along. And I think we'll see better red zone defense and better red zone offense productivity as well, because to me, it's not like these defenses are making fantastic plays. We're getting bonehead coaching and just no execution from the offense. So I think it'll change as the year goes along.
Okay, so now to throw a wrench in that whole thing, because if you could dodge wrenches, you can dodge anything.
What about kicking? Duck, dive. What was my man's name? What was my man's name? The sign fell on his head in dodgeball? The coach, man. I can't remember. Somebody in the chat know his name.
Pat Houlihan.
Patches O'Houlihan. There you go.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Patches O'Houlihan. Shout out to Patches O'Houlihan, man.
So like, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's throw the wrench. Why not just kick the field goal in a game like this? because it's so early and
On fourth
you're
down?
like, yeah.
I mean, you got to think about it. You already had a field goal on the board, right? So now you go down and you come away with another field goal. And this is exactly what happened in this game. The 49ers scored a touchdown, and now it's like, whoa, now they just took control. Even though you didn't get the fourth down here, even if you kicked it, the 49ers scored that touchdown, they still go up 7-6.
And now I'm trying to think about what the flip of the field was like on that. Like
Crucial.
Did San Fran,
I don't think San Fran scored on that initial drive that came out of the 4th and 1. Where the Eagles didn't get it. I don't think they scored, but eventually they ended up putting the ball in the end zone. I mean, it just seemed like Jalen Hurts and this offense had way too many opportunities early. They dominated the first half. Yeah. And Jalen Hurts was looking great in that first half. And then you allowed San Francisco to have that lead at the half. Let me see what the score was at the half, actually. It was 7-3 at the half. Yeah, so even with the field goal there, you go in at the half down 7-6, and San Francisco outplayed them in the fourth quarter 10-8. You still get the win. The Eagles just couldn't score. They just couldn't score, man. And they just struggled for 3 quarters to put the ball in the end zone. They didn't have a lot of red zone opportunities. You got to look at the Jalen Reagor play as one that's like you got to capitalize on that somehow. You end up not scoring. It reminds me of the Darius Slayton play for us in the first game.
It's the NFL now. It's like, there's going to be a lot of these games where you're just like, it's not the reason why you lose, but it might be the reason why you didn't win, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, the cliche saying of the NFL has always been it's a game of inches, right?
Yep.
And in today's NFL, it's like things can change so drastically. I mean, you look at last night, Detroit is literally beating Green Bay 17-14, and then it's just like light switch. You know what I'm saying?
And they got the kind of offense and weapons to be able to do that, man. And the quarterback.
And I think that's huge for the Eagles, though. Obviously we're trying to pull things out of this game, that to moving forward for the rest of the season is Quez Watkins going to step up and be this, this third weapon? Because in a game like this where Smith and Reagor were basically non-existent, Reagor had the opportunity to make a play, and that completely changes the makeup of the game and the numbers on his stat sheet, but he didn't make that play. So Quez Watkins stepped up. Is Quez Watkins going to be that third guy? I saw somebody in here earlier in the chat mentioning about how the tight ends weren't being used a lot in this game. And I think that also sometimes it has to deal with the defense taking away the middle of the field. Because
wasn't there an injury at tight end for the Eagles too? I thought they had one of their guys go out.
I think Ertz went out.
Ertz got hurt, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so, they got Goddard which is good to have 2 tight ends like that on your squad. But I mean, like, these teams were able to do what Washington and New York weren't able to do, and that's take away the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because both of these teams did really well in the middle of the field defensively. Obviously, you see the stat line with all the tight ends. With George Kittle, didn't really do much either at all. And it was kind of a weird game, but
it was.
Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and I think we thought the 49ers were going to win this game, and they were able to, and I think,
you thought, Eagles are going to have to. Because I definitely picked the Eagles in this game. I undervalued the 49ers defense. That's where because I looked at their offense and I was like, where are the points going to come from? But they only needed 17 to win a game in an NFL type style now where everybody's talking about pass the ball, throw it down the field, score points. If you're not scoring over 30, you're not doing nothing, right? You see the 49ers win a game 17-11, straight on the back of the defense.
I heard shout out to my man Travis, who does a radio show on Team 980. He said the 49ers and the Eagles game looked like a lacrosse score, 17-11.
It does, man. It's crazy. Very low scoring, but the 49ers did dominate time of possession in this game, and the Eagles were very limited as far as opportunities go. They did end up each with 9 drives, which is right around average for an NFL team to get in a game. But terrible third down play in this game. The 49ers were 6 of 14. The Eagles were 5 of 12. And even with Quez Watkins, who seemed to have a big game, he did it on 2 catches, 114 yards, I believe it was, on 2 catches. And Devontae Smith, I think, had 2 catches in this game as well, too. But they got to find a way to get the ball into their playmakers' hands. And when you're going up against a good defense like this, that they schemed Jalen Hurts the proper way. I mean, they got the coaching staff over there and they got the personnel on defense to be able to do that. So I'm not low on Jalen Hurts yet. The completion percentage was down, but I mean, look at the game, man. 270 total yards, and his team only had 328 yards. So he's 4/5 of the offense pretty much, So we really can't blame this one on the quarterback. And I think the same thing goes for the Giants in our game. You really can't blame that one on the quarterback either, but we know how that cookie crumbled in that game. But I don't know. I'm very undecided on the Eagles. Right now, my gut is telling me that the Cowboys and the Eagles are the two best teams in the NFC East as of right now. Now, we all know that when a team or when the schedule kind of progresses more, teams are going to get better and some teams are going to get worse. So I think that, the Giants and the Washington football team got a lot of work cut out for them as far as like getting better throughout the year. That's going to be something that we need to hone in on. The Eagles here, defensively didn't play a bad game. 17 points. I think, you should be able to win a game when you hold a team to 17 points. Just didn't capitalize on the opportunities the proper way, and then you come away with an L here. But 1-1, you're still tied up at the top of the division, the NFC least until further notice. I don't think we can change that quite yet because our division is still looking like some cheeks right now. I got to keep it 100. We're not looking too great in this division.
It's so weird when you look at the standings, like on like an app or on your website, and you look at the division, and it's just like all the like 1-1s, and because usually there's a lot of teams that are still undefeated at this point, and I think there's only 4 undefeated teams after 2 weeks of football.
Oh man, that's kind of interesting. You got the Broncos up there 2-0. The Bucks are 2-0.
Raiders, Tampa
the Raiders.
Bay, the Rams, Cardinals, and that's it, I think.
Oh yeah, the Cardinals are 2-0. It's weird. My Cowboys notes aren't up here, but I'll just pull them off the phone. That's cool.
Should be able to win a game when you score 29. Yeah, we're gonna get to that point for sure. Oh yes, thank you, Sunday. The Panthers are also 2-0.
Oh my God, the Panthers are 2-0.
Yep. And then Luke's got a little fantasy question I'll get to while Awthentik
pull that
pulls
up.
Those notes. Says, do I trade Mike Evans for A.J. Brown or Evans for Marvin Jones and Swift? I mean, look.
Swift been letting us down, bro.
They're not giving him the ball. I don't understand why they just don't give him the ball. Like every time they give the ball to Jamal Williams, it kills me. But I mean, listen, I like some good Mike Evans. You know what I'm saying? Mike Evans is a solid wide receiver, and you saw he had a good comeback game this week, 2 touchdowns. But like A.J. Brown, that offense is running through Derrick Henry, and I think they realize that they need to go back to that after.
Hey, how about that performance from Derrick Henry, man? That was ridiculous. You saw, I'm sure you saw it because we were both involved in it. But Kid Blue's tweet about Derrick Henry, people was killing him for that one.
I mean, the dude was unstoppable at the end of that game. I mean, you want to talk about carrying a team on your back? Like, that is the ultimate definition. But I mean, if I were to make this trade, if I were to trade Mike Evans, which I don't think I would, and obviously it depends on who else you have on your roster. I mean, I'm definitely taking Mike Evans for Marvin Jones and DeAndre Swift, and not just Mike Evans for A.J. Brown, because Marvin Jones is clearly the number 1 wide receiver in Jacksonville, and they're going to be down a lot this year, so they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. So. And, I mean, DeAndre Swift, hopefully, running back who catches and runs the ball, can't really lose there. So, like, if I had to go, with a trade here, I would take the second trade and not the first trade.
So is it a must we make the trade, or can we just hold on to Mike Evans? Because I'm going to just hold on to Mike Evans.
Yeah, you can just hold on to Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'd hold on to Mike Evans in that one. I definitely hold on to him. All right, so you see, this is why you got to do backups, man. Like, my iCloud lunched out on my Cowboys Chargers notes, but something told me, just print them joints out real quick. I printed them, bam, saved me right here. All right, let's get to this Cowboys Chargers game one time.
Roldy.
So, Roldy's in the building. What's up, Roldy? How you living, fam? Let's get this popping here. So Cowboys game, man. Cowboys at Chargers, man. Cowboys started the game with a 15-play, 78-yard drive that ended in a touchdown. Man, talk about being a fan and loving your team right there. That's how you want to start a game. The Cowboys had 13 first downs in the first quarter, the Beard. That's an NFL record they tied right there. They were down 5 starters in this game. Most importantly, it was Michael Gallup and Collins. And Dak Prescott was 5 for 5 on the final drive. The Cowboys look to be a team that could maybe make a run. We're going to get to that, but I think that they could be a team that could make a run right now. Their defense is playing a lot better, and the offense has not missed a beat since they played last season. They're now 25-0 when Dak Prescott is on the field, and they run the ball more than they pass the ball. That's a stat. Now, hold on. That's a nugget right there. 25-0 when you run it more than you pass it. That's a nugget right there, man. And the Cowboys got back to the running game in this game. Tony Pollard, 13 rushes for 109 yards. Zeke Elliott, 16 for 71. That's like a new Thunder Lightning vibe right there. I'm definitely feeling that, man. The defense was doing their thing out there all day. Love what I saw to Micah Parsons. We're going to get into that a little bit. But also this defense leads the NFL in takeaways with 6 takeaways. They're 9th in points allowed, but they're 31st in passing yards allowed. So they got to clean that up a little bit. But I saw Michael Irvin today on First Take, and Michael Irvin said, man, the yards don't matter, the points matter. And I do agree with that. It's all about how many points you can leave on the board for the other team and how many points you can score for your own team. But the Chargers take the L in this game on a game-winning field goal. The Beard, let me know your thoughts on this game, man.
Well, okay, obviously, yes, the yards don't matter as much as the points do, but we're only 2 weeks in. Once you start getting these teams start figuring out how to score points in the red zone, then those yards become an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
So, like, that's something that you have to look at. I mean, defensively, Trayvon Diggs. You know, we talked about Trayvon Diggs on this show when he first got drafted. And, you know, he had some real rough learning curve last year. But he got better as the season went along. And so far this season, he's playing really, really well. Obviously, you know, he gave up some – I hit that one up a little bit earlier.
That's fire right there, dog.
With Keenan Allen gave him some trouble here and there. But for the most part, think about Trayvon Diggs has had to guard Mike Evans and Keenan Allen pretty much in his first 2 games. Obviously, you know, everybody checks everybody. You know, it depends on the plays and the games, etc.
For sure.
But Trayvon Diggs has 2 interceptions already, tied for the league lead, obviously, 2 games in. You know, it was small sample size. But Trayvon Diggs is playing really well. But obviously, the most interesting part about this defense, hands down, is the fact that they had to play Micah Parsons at defensive end in this game. And it's the first time he's played defensive end since he was in high school, and he was awesome.
Yeah,
he was amazing playing defensive end. Like, to me, like, that's just crazy. Like, when you can just be able, just goes to show the athleticism that he has. And I think that, you know, obviously their defense still has a long way to go. We're only 2 games in the season. We're not going to get all crazy here, but it is good for them. And if you're a Cowboys fan, to think about, okay, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, maybe we do have some young buds on this team, you know, that are going to be, you know, progressing and turning into superstars down the road. And that's super important for their defense, because their defense has, you know, been so bad over the last year and change.
And a lot of that was on that defensive coordinator. What was his name? Mike Nolan?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that was on him, because you see Quinn comes in, and I mean, immediately they're not a like Super Bowl caliber defense, but you see that they're miles and leaps from where they were at last season.
Big shout out to Lax Ofo for the $4.99 super chat. Says, I just got offered Chase Edmonds and Kittle to trade away Kelsey. Thoughts? Absolutely not. Nope.
Absolutely not. I was going to say, that game yesterday showed you Travis Kelce, yo. He is like, he miles and leaps. Him and Darren Waller, I think they're leaps ahead of all the other tight ends in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Listen, that play where Travis Kelce caught the ball, I mean, like, that was a tight end looking like me out there. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, man,
it's interesting, this Cowboys defense. I think that's something that I want to watch as this season progresses, because, you know, are they going to continue to get better? Because if they continue to get better, to have something like Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs on that back end and middle part of your defense is going to be huge, especially if, you know, you're not getting to the quarterback with the initial front rush, you know. So it'll be interesting to see now how moving forward, also how they decide to use Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I think they got to keep him on the line because who was I watching? Oh, Max Kellerman. I'm digging Max Kellerman's new show, by the way, with Keyshawn Johnson and Jason Williams. It's a great show. They chop it up real nice podcast style. And he was saying like they should put Micah Parsons at the end with his hand in the ground. He's better off served like that in the NFL. And a lot of people was probably looking at him kind of crazy, but when you see him come out here and have a game like that, especially after week one where, like, people on the internet don't really realize it. They're looking at Micah Parsons like he's lost on the field and all that.
That one
but he
dude
still had a
who
good
I
game.
don't really like. I forgot who it was who put that initial tweet out. Was it
I forget who it was too, man. But that's the thing. There's layers to the game that a lot of people don't understand. And I'm not sitting here saying like I'm the guy that understands every layer. I was telling you this about Kurt Warner's breakdowns off camera too. Like, the way Kurt Warner breaking down these plays, look at Peyton Manning on Monday night when he's doing the game, how he's breaking down these plays. That's a level of football that most of us don't know. So when you see I remember when we ran a screen in week one with the Giants, people saw Kenny Galladay run across the field and they're like, he's open, throw him the ball. It's like, come on, yo. Like, there's philosophy and there's scheme and there's things going on. A quarterback is so important to an offense because of how much he's reading what's going on pre-snap, and not only pre-snap, while he's dropping back, leverage of the defensive line, what people are getting through, what leverage is happening in the secondary and who to throw it to and things like this. This is stuff that your normal fans just not going to understand, Yeah. Oh, I like that. That is a good comparison. Yeah. That's a good comparison. LeVar Arrington was dominant for the Redskins during his time.
Both Penn State, too.
Yeah, now I do want to talk about the Chargers offense just a little bit, man, because this is the second game that they kind of left out there for the other team to win the game. I want to pull up their red zone, and I also want to pull up their third downs, but they had 2 touchdowns called back from penalties, man. Like, you got to be more disciplined in this. And this is what I'm like, I kind of want to get into this about the Chargers, okay? I kind of like fell for the hype a little bit because everybody and a mama is hype about the Chargers this year. They think the Chargers is going to be a 10-6 team. But this team is clearly not disciplined, man. Like, a veteran wide receiver like Keenan Allen, and I know that it didn't matter in the long run of things because they had the illegal shift on the line on that play. But a guy like Keenan Allen getting a taunting penalty after a play, come on, dog. You supposed to be better than that, man. And, the illegal shift or the illegal motion that they had, that was on Jared Cook, and I think Mike Williams moved on that play as well, too, at the top of the screen. So to me, it's like, I hate to say this, I don't think the Chargers are ready to make a run. And this kind of goes back, I like to relate things back to my team because I know my team best, right? Everybody talking about the Giants, right? The way that we play and the way we call plays on offense is to not make the big mistake, right? And maybe this is why. You let your quarterback go out there and just fling the ball. Like, yeah, he's going to make some big plays, but at the same time, you can also make some big mistakes. And we saw a lot of big mistakes in this game, and we saw also a struggling red zone offense for a second week in a row. The Chargers were 2 of 6, like I talked about, against Washington. They were 1 of 4 against the Cowboys. 7 of their drives, and I might be wrong on this. Actually, I want to look at this to make sure because let me see how many drives they had. 7 of their 9 drives, they got down to the Cowboys' 35-yard line. What?
And you have how many points?
You came away, let me get that up. You came away with 17 points. You came away with 17 points. I take it back. It wasn't 9 drives. It was 7. So every drive that the Chargers had got down to the Cowboys' 35-yard line.
You have to be able to score points.
You got to be able to score points. I mean, that's really what it is. And Herbert seems to be struggling when they get down to the red zone because you don't got the space. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about what they were saying about Daniel Jones. Like, if he could play within the 20 to the 20, he'd look like the best quarterback in the league. You get to the 20 and you got to score points in the red zone, you start looking like Dookie. Now, 7 opportunities y'all got to the 35 and y'all didn't score?
So how much of that do you put on the coaching staff, though, right? So, like, I feel like there's – how we always talk about, oh, he's their red zone target. He's the guy that they're going to throw the ball to in the red zone, right? Like,
right.
You hear that phrase a lot.
Yeah.
But like it's about the coaching staff has to start designing plays now too.
And you got to have that guy.
Specifically, you got to have that guy. The Chargers have a guy. His name is Parham. He's like 7'5" tight end.
Yeah,
He's
and Jared Cook is no slouch too.
Jared
Cook should be a guy in the red zone making plays. But look, this is what they were saying about Jared Cook. They were saying maybe his football IQ is low because he seems to not know down and distance and situation a lot of times when he's running his routes. But I think he's a fantastic tight end. He's kind of a poor man's Darren Waller a little bit. He's a tall body, kind of runs the routes.
He balled out before. He balled out with the Raiders. He balled out with the Saints.
Go
You
back
know
to the
what I'm
playoffs
saying?
with the Saints. You remember he had them 2 fumbles late in that playoff game that really cost them the game.
Yeah.
You remember that, right? So there is
you
that.
pulling
And
the
we know
bad.
Keenan Allen, and yeah, I remember that game well. Keenan Allen is another guy who could be that weapon, but when it comes time
Mike
for the red zone,
Williams.
I don't know, man. Mike Williams isn't that guy. He's not
He a
that guy
big
when you.
dude, though.
But 20-yard line is not his vibe. What are you gonna throw him a fade route? Maybe. But outside of that, you don't see Mike Williams going across the middle to get those catches in the red zone. He's more the guy you use to get down to the red zone. But the discipline, man. Look, they had 12 penalties for 99 yards. Guess how many was on the offense?
They shot themselves in the foot 100.
They had 11
that
penalties.
whole game.
11 of the 12 penalties was on the offense.
I mean, you can't. That's
Yeah,
listen.
you
You
go
running
in like
laps.
that.
You getting 8. There might be a hole in the film room wall after that performance with those type of penalties. You just can't do it.
2
You just can't
interceptions
do
from
it.
the quarterback. To me, this goes back to your game plan. So I got to put some of this on the coaches. We can't front. I don't know who the coach is over there, but he's a new coach. They got rid of Anthony Lynn from last year.
Guy.
I thought Anthony Lynn deserves a little bit more time there. I know he was making some bonehead mistakes when it came down to time management late in games. But, he pulled the trigger on that quarterback after Tyrod Taylor got punctured in the lung and whatnot. We never saw Tyrod Taylor again. And I got to credit Anthony Lynn. And man, poor Tyrod Taylor with another hamstring injury here who this is just a story of Tyrod Taylor. This could be a book about this guy. He just, every time he gets the right opportunity and he's looking right, he gets hurt. And they played a good game against the Browns, which is just
He was like
so
11
sad to
of
see.
12 when he got hurt.
It's so sad to see him go down. But right now, I'm low on the Chargers, man. So to me, it kind of brings the Cowboys back down a little bit to earth, because if this Chargers team came out here and played a really solid game and the Cowboys beat them after a good Week 1 performance against the Tampa Bay Bucks, where they were in that game all the way to the last minute pretty much, I'd be, the stock of the Dallas Cowboys would rise for me. But because the Chargers came out Week 1, looked pretty mediocre against Washington, where Washington only ran 48 plays to their 70-plus plays and still managed to only win that game by 4 points, to me, the Chargers are a little bit overrated. I've been using that word a lot early on in the season, but maybe they could be a team that'll sneak into the playoffs, but we shouldn't be looking at them as like a front runner, a team that's going to win 10, 11 games, maybe win a division. I don't think they're that team.
We're going to find out on Sunday.
Who's their matchup? They're
Chiefs.
playing the Chiefs, and watch them get blown out. They're not ready for that.
Even
though the Chiefs don't look like they're on all cylinders yet either, but
I'm going to give you one name, though. Santi Samuel Jr. That is turning out to be a really good pick for the San Diego Chargers.
San Diego.
Los Angeles Chargers. Look,
what's the saying that they said in Anchorman? What would he say about San Diego every time he got on the show?
He would
stay classy. Stay classy.
Yeah.
Stay classy.
But yeah, he's somebody to keep your eye on for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He played really well in this game and also in the Week 1. But look at his stats and just remember the name. If you catch some Chargers,
hey,
watch
Brody. Hey, that's my dude right there. Suck man. Shout out,
yeah.
in the building
They loving it. And you got another one here for you.
No, I did not play college ball, yo. Definitely not, yo. If I'd have played college ball, it would have been like a fourth stringer at Bowie State. I had hands when I was in high school. They moved me to quarterback my junior year, or moved me from quarterback my junior year. I played quarterback on JV and throughout my whole life. And when we get to varsity, the coaches are like, yo, when you come back next year, you're not playing quarterback. So you're too small. We're going with the option. Get your wide receiver reps in now. And I definitely showed out with the hands and started, but we never threw the ball.
I tell you what, though, we should have a YouTube content creator bowl.
We should. Nice Y'all will see I gets busy still.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Because, look, you got me and Awthentik running routes, man. It might be a wrap for whoever's going against us.
It's going to be a problem. We could do like the DMV version of content creators. We get Pest out there. I know there's a couple others that are linked. Oh, you got Louis T out here, with Washington. Maybe we pull out Louis T, look like he got a little speed on him, and we get some cats from up top, to run that game, because that would be fun, actually. We could film that would be really dope.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. They don't call us left side strong side for nothing, though. You know what I'm saying?
You already know, bro. This is a good comment right here too to go on what we talking about here. The Raiders are still Oakland, and the Chargers are still San Diego, straight up. And Washington, I know a lot of people still trying to call them skins too.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing though I do, because I got the chance to say something about that Chargers defense, and on the offensive side for the Cowboys, I was kind of crazy when I said it. A lot of people were kind of like, oh, it's an overreaction. But I was talking about how, maybe the Cowboys think about trading Zeke because Tony Pollard is the clear number one running back there. But then when I heard you mention the Lightning and the Thunder, it kind of makes sense. It made me rethink you don't have to necessarily
have
trade
a label on your number one either.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to necessarily trade Zeke because I don't want this to come off the wrong way, because Zeke had a good game. He had a great game. You know what I'm saying?
Great game. Two great games, man, even though he didn't run the ball in that first game. His pass protection was amazing, and that's why you got to keep him.
But I just think, from the business aspect of it, you probably won't see it this year, but they're going to probably try and find a way to move on from that contract and free up some money, I think. But Tony Pollard, you saw flashes of it every time he kind of got into the game. He has that big play capability, and that goes into before just this season. But, I mean, you really saw it in this game. And I think that it's kind of scary, because it's like it goes all the way back to the first day we talked about, one of our first lives about who has the best weapons in the NFC East, right? And you don't even really think about Tony Pollard as mentioning him because he's so far down the line. You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Amari Cooper.
We were more thinking starters, because with Washington we didn't name McKissick as a weapon either, and he's been a weapon. But then you see Pollard come out there, and it's just like he reminds me of Zeke when Zeke was Zeke. Right? No,
but a little bit.
Nope.
But listen. But he just
not giving you that.
He just listen. It's minus the power. The power.
And that's what Zeke's game is predicated on, is power.
But just the big play. The big play, man.
It's good to have a second running back that can do that. But this the thing about Zeke. And it speaks to the point of what I was saying to Kid Blue online about Derrick Henry. Because Kid Blue was saying, what did he do for the first 3 quarters? A power back wears down defenses. Mm-hmm. That's what they do, so that when it comes time for the fourth quarter and you bring in this lightning and Tony Pollard, he's going to break big plays in the second half. And you saw Zeke getting his runs a little bit in the second half too. I love the combo of them, but you make one good point there. The one thing I will agree with you on is the money. You signed Zeke to that big deal, biggest running back deal to that date, I believe. And now it's like, well, what do you do with this moving forward after this year? If you can make a run with these running backs, you got to find a way to bring Zeke back. And the problem here is that you don't see a lot of running backs take that big money and then want to restructure the contract later. No. You don't ever see that. But the other thing you see a lot of,
especially with running backs,
because
in running backs they will cut it.
They will cut you. But this is the thing that every running back needs to think about. All those running backs that get cut, when they go to another team, they don't do well. Mm-hmm. Their careers tend to fall off. So my thing is, you got to look at this with an eye like a Tom Brady. You looking at longevity to make your money. Tom Brady been taking pay cuts forever. He's only taking up 5% of the Bucs cap right now. It's a longevity thing now. You can extend your career by taking lower money to put the better players around you. If Ezekiel Elliott wants to get cut eventually and then go to another team and have to reestablish his whole thing, that's going to make his career a lot harder. We've seen that with Le'Veon Bell. We've seen that with other running backs too. Every running back I know that signed a big deal, even I'll take y'all back to my day. Like, look at Emmitt Smith when he went to the Cardinals. Same thing. You got to understand that, like, if you could take a little bit less money to see your team win, it's better for you. Because to be on a winning team, it makes everything look better for you. I've been talking about Derek Carr since 6 months ago. The only reason why they don't mention Derek Carr is because the Raiders ain't winning. Now that they start winning, everybody's starting to boost Derek Carr's stock. Derek Carr now looking like a top 10 quarterback. But I told y'all about the stats before this year. Derek Carr was a top 10 quarterback.
Remember last year?
Yeah.
When we was talking,
you were saying he was a dark horse MVP candidate. Yeah.
And it's
which I thought you was reaching a little bit, but the stats said so. When you're not winning, though, that I don't care what nobody says now. Like, I'm from this day forward, I'm going with this. And I always tell people, man, I got the liberty to change my mind whenever I want. When we get to that Giants game, I'm gonna talk about something I changed my mind on drastically. But I always can change my mind on stuff, man. Like, Derek Carr, man, he's a bona fide guy. He is a guy, and you got to find ways to put weapons around you to win games. That is the bottom line. Win the game, you going to look better.
Yeah, 100. Big shout out to Rody for the $5 super chat. Says Awthentik. Every team has some of that thunder and lightning. Why can't we have one? It seems like we living and dying with Barkley.
We are, which is kind of strange. What I say all off season, Beard. Use Saquon Barkley like Alvin Kamara. And what do they do with Alvin Kamara? They always pair him with somebody. They always give you a power back play. They had Murray over there. They had Ingram over there. They give you the power back play. They trying to turn Saquon Barkley into Zeke Elliott when Zeke Elliott was in his prime. It's better to have a 2 running back system. Get a guy in there who's a bruiser. I don't know if they thought Booker was going to be that guy. And I talked about this in our previews for Thursday's game. Like, what's up with Brightwell? He seems like a bowling ball style running back that you could just run up the middle to get a couple yards here and there. But like this whole living and dying on Saquon Barkley and all these fans talking about wait till he getting 20 touches and all that. No, that's not the way. This is a new day and age in the NFL. We talked about 100-yard running backs over this weekend when we were doing the parlay. I think we were talking about like how there's not a lot of guys getting 100 yards. You know, it's not the same league where, like, yo, every week you got 7, 8, 9 running backs going for 100. It's just not happening.
I wouldn't say that Derrick Henry was the only running back. Pollard, I think. So Pollard and
Pollard went
Derrick
for 100.
Henry
Yeah.
might have been the only 2 running backs to get 100 yards.
And David Montgomery, that was week 1. Was that week 1 he went for 100? That was week 1. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see no Mets, no Nets, no Jets saying, where's Penny? Put Penny at running back 2. I don't know if he's the guy because, like, when you have a thunder-style running back, you need him to have at least a little bit of speed, you know, and it would help if he could do a little bit in the passing game, too, so when you run play action. Because Brandon Jacobs was that. A lot of people don't remember. Brandon Jacobs used to catch that swing pass out right in the flats, and you getting ran over. DBs don't want to tackle guys like that. You know, and the Giants are just scared to do that. I do think that Jason Garrett is doing a better job with calling these games. You know, week 2 against Washington is a much better game plan. But Roldy's right on that. What's up with the Giants? Why can't we get a big back? I said this today on my Twitter. Giants need to go out there and bring in Adrian Peterson. I don't care what nobody say. What he did for Washington last season was positive yards. First down, 2, 3 yards. We can deal with that. Shoot. And then if you run an RPO with Daniel Jones and AP.
He did it.
Yeah, and he went to Detroit and did it. I don't understand why he don't got a job right now.
It's crazy, but I saw that and I didn't get a chance to reply to it, but I'm not mad at it. It's just, you know, he might not want to come, you know, it's because of the situation. You know, he probably if he's gonna come play, he probably come play to get it. You know,
look. I think Adrian Peterson would get on the field right now with any team.
Any team.
But the Giants seems to be a perfect situation because right now we're having to not run the rock. You look at the game plan against Washington, we barely running the rock. You know? And then when they're running it, they're going to Saquon, but they're leaving Saquon on the field because they know he's a threat. He's a decoy in a way, too. You got to keep your eyes on him. So it opens up things in the passing game as well, too. But for me, I just think, like, Booker's not getting the – right now, Booker's averaging 2.7 yards per carry, and he has 6 carries on the season. Why did we bring him in? That can't be for that. You know, I think you got to find – you could go out there and sign AP right now to a veteran minimum. It'll cost you nothing. He's a smart guy that can pick up on systems. We've seen that with him, with Washington. We've seen that with Detroit. I just think it might be a good move. If he's a guy that wants to be in the league right now, I think it'd be a good move right now. A proven guy that you know could get yards. And in the tweet that I put up, I said, you know, not only for his running capabilities, but for what he could do for Saquon Barkley's mental. This is the guy who they were trying to compare Barkley to coming off this knee injury, you know? And I think even if he doesn't touch the field, he could come in for morale and for mental health for Saquon Barkley. You know, just to get back into your groove because there's clearly something wrong with Saquon Barkley. When he got the big run, he looks like he's running proper and he looks like he's doing his thing, but there's something wrong there. And all his career, he's been a guy that had the short, always getting stopped at the line and then finally break one through. We got to find a way to turn Saquon Barkley into a running back who could get those 7 yards here, those 9 yards here. And then maybe when it comes down to a last possession to actually put 7 on the board to maybe put a game away, you can actually give, you know, the guy the rock to pick up the 7. Instead, you ran it to him twice. He picked up 2 yards on the 2 carries in the red zone. And now people looking at Jason Garrett crazy. But the offensive line's a major issue, too, in New York. You know, I don't want to give away too many of the goods for the New York game, but, you know,
so
that's just what it is. You need 2 backs, and Zeke Elliott is a guy you got to keep around.
So before we move on, let me ask you this question then. So this game plan was obviously, you know, that nugget. Where's Cernog with the nugget alert? that nugget you gave in the beginning about Dak, the stat where they, what was it, 25-0?
25-0 when they run the ball more.
They run the ball more than they pass the ball when Dak's on the field. So do you think that this sort of game plan is something that they're going to try and, utilize a little bit more? Or because, every game is going to be different. Like that Tampa Bay game, like they had the run defense is one of the best in the league.
Yep.
And then you were able to, and then the Chargers run defense, you saw Washington kind of wear them down as the game went along. And I think the Cowboys try to do sort of the same thing against this Chargers run defense. Do you think they try to utilize this run game more moving forward, or are we just going to see like a game-by-game basis sort of situation?
NFL is week to week. Kellen Moore is showing you why he's one of the better offensive coordinators in the division. He adjusted. He went against the Bucs. They barely ran the ball. In this game, they ran the ball as much as they could. So, yeah, it's week to week, and he's doing a good job of it, engaging the situation and calling the right plays.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. What's their next game?
That's Cowboys.
Monday night, right?
You can pull up the schedule. I believe it is Monday night.
Against the Eagles?
Are they going up against the Eagles? That would be actually amazing. I would love to see a divisional game right now this early.
Yep.
Eagles.
Eagles.
And then Panthers, so I'm glad you brought the schedule up because, look, like going into the year, everybody was like, oh, Cowboys got this easy stretch coming up right here, especially with Eagles, Carolina, New York, right? That all got more difficult. The New York Giants offense is clicking. The Eagles are not a pushover. That's going to be a tough game, and Carolina is about that business right now. Matt Rule, I know a lot of New York Giants fans are sitting here like, hey, bro, why didn't we hire Matt Rule? Why didn't we make that happen? Because Matt Rule got them balling over there, and the personnel is not fantastic. Man. Sam Darnold looking like a little beast right now.
And I mean, what is CMC going to do to that Dallas defense? Is Dallas defense going to be ready? Are they turning the corner, or is McCaffrey going to come in there and be like, hold on, this corner ain't turning? You know what I'm saying? And then you got the Giants. They got 2 division games. Like Washington, we don't play another division game until December. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have Philly division game, Carolina 2-0, Christian McCaffrey, Giants division game.
Hungry for wins.
The Patriots. Then you got the Patriots.
Then these were some other games we looked at that were a little bit sketchy coming out of the bye against the Vikings and the Broncos now, which we know the Broncos are balling. Pat Shermer got that offense moving.
Look at this how this stretch goes after they see. This is the thing about the Cowboys. They get these one games that kind of like are a little off. So the Falcons, right? But then look at that, Chiefs, Raiders. Back-to-back
Everyone's
games.
got that Chiefs matchup, man. Why they do us like that, dog? Chiefs, Raiders, Saints back-to-back is going to be tough. Jameis Winston came back down to earth, and that the Saints offense looked like straight-up garbage this last week. But you never know. Saints could probably get it together. We know they're dealing with a little bit of problems with the stadium. I don't know did you see the dude putting the fire out on their stadium today?
No.
They had like a highlight about the stadium was on fire, and it was like literally you could see the dome over the stadium, right? And one dude up there with a hose trying to put out the fire, bro. I don't mean to laugh, but the whole scene just looked crazy, bro. I was like, what? I was half asleep seeing it. I'm like, what is going on here? But Cowboys definitely, that schedule looking a little bit more strong and a little bit more even with Washington and with New York, because we looked at our stretches, from like week 4 to week 10 looking real crazy. They've got some difficult games here. I mean, I think the Vikings, who played them tough last year too, the Broncos, even Atlanta. Don't forget, Atlanta played the Cowboys tough last season and should have beat them early on. I think that was week 2, where they had the fumble or the onside kick. Yeah. What did they call it? They called that onside kick something. I can't remember what it was called. But it was a strange onside kick that did some weird stuff when they kicked it. Cowboys end up getting it and they end up winning that game. So a lot of tough games coming up for the Cowboys. Not only the Cowboys, but everybody in the NFC East.
Big shout out to Welcome to Big Pat Sports Talk for the $5 super chat. Says, hey guys, can't wait to come on the show in the future. Love you guys' views on the game. We appreciate the love and the support, my man.
Shout out Big Pat. I was in Big Pat's stream after the games on Sunday, and I heard them talking about Washington New York game a little bit too. And he was kind of downplaying your boy Taylor Heineke. I'm high on Taylor Heineke. He's kind of downplaying him. He said that wheel route, I could make that throw. He said, I could make that throw. I was like, I thought it was a pretty good touch pass, man. But shout out to the homie Big Pat, man. Definitely always doing some dope Giants content, man. Definitely check him out during the games, man. His play-by-plays are real chill, real lax. I always pop in there during the games, man. Real dope vibes.
That's going to be interesting. I'm going to remember this. I'm going to see if that can happen. We all got Chiefs and Bucks.
Let's try not to ink that in as 8-0 versus NFC East. Yeah, somebody going to beat them. I think somebody will beat them. Hey, what is it going to be us? I don't know. Right now, if I had to pick a team that was going to beat the Chiefs, I'm going to say it's going to be the Cowboys because they got the offensive firepower to keep up with them.
True. Cam, I don't think Cam's going to land anywhere this year.
It would have to take a major injury somewhere.
Yeah,
And not only a major injury, but an injury and maybe somebody who could run that kind of scheme that he's accustomed to running. And he's not going to be a backup, but if he wanted to be a backup with the injury to Trey Lance, you could bring him in at least for dirt cheap and have him running those plays. Come on the field for a quick little wildcat.
You guys are bringing all the parlay love to the Tuesday night show.
I saw someone in the chat saying, I wish today was Sunday and we were doing the parlay and the Giants were about to play. I feel you, dog. I told this feels like a month we've been waiting for the next game, man. But at least we had some football on Sunday. Monday night game was a good, high-powered game there from the Packers too. So we get some good football at least.
Listen, this is actually a really interesting question. Tom Brady versus the Rams. Okay, Tom Brady leads the league in touchdown passes. He has 9 touchdown passes already. Okay, yeah. Daniel Jones versus the Falcons.
Somewhat surprising on that 9 too.
No, he's in the lead solo dolo.
Is it solo? I thought they said it was tied today, and it was somebody who surprised me. I was like, I thought maybe it's another statistic though.
Nope. Yeah, he's up 9 touchdowns by himself.
Who's behind him?
I'm not sure. I just have the league leaders, but Daniel Jones versus the Falcons. Daniel Jones has been playing really well, and this is a good transition. This is a great transition because we got the parlay, little intro for you guys, and then we got going into the Giants game. So Daniel Jones against the Falcons. Listen, Daniel Jones is playing really good football right now. I don't care what anybody says. He's playing really good football considering the situation, considering how he has played in the past. Okay, the Falcons defense looks really bad. And Daniel Jones is giving you those Lamar, Josh Allen, Kyler, Jalen Hurts fantasy stats with them legs. So I would not. That's tough. I don't know if I could do it, but you got to have some major marbles to bench Tom Brady.
You took it back to Major League 2.
Major League, you have no marbles.
He said marbles? Huevos? That movie classic, yo. Classic. Sometimes a lot of Giants fans be reminding me of the Cleveland Indians fan that was from that movie. They'll choke it in the playoffs. He just hated his own team, yo. Hey, but on that question, Daniel Jones got to prove a little bit more. I saw him miss a couple throws on Thursday as well. Although he had a great game, I will give him that. Running the ball as well. He had a really good game with his legs. You got to go with Tom Brady, who's just lights out for 2 games straight. I don't know. Tom Brady, the Rams they don't scare me. They don't scare me for Tom Brady at least.
Big shout out to David for the $5 super chat. Says the NFC East is going to let up 200 points collectively against the Chiefs. If the Giants lose to the Falcons, it's time to look forward to the draft.
Oh, nah, we early. Don't forget we get that extra game.
We got an extra game.
We got an extra game buffer.
And
so all that 0-2 talk,
East.
And it's the NFC East.
The NFC East.
Yeah, you never know, man. Somebody could get hurt. I don't want to put no jinxing on nobody, but somebody's quarterback could get hurt. A lot could go down, A lot can go down. So it's early. I'm going to the bye at least.
My man Big Pat said, I got a decent arm for a regular dude. I can make it.
Shout out Big Pat one time.
Oh, man. I guess
we got to keep Big Pat in time. We got to keep Big Pat in mind for the Content Creator Bowl. We might have to scoop Big Pat. For real.
It's time to put them words to the field.
Yeah, big facts, man. But let's get a quick commercial break, man, and we'll come back with the Giants Washington football team game.
Sounds like a plan.
Your wide receiver on IR? Aw, shucks. Your running back keep fumbling every week? Man, damn it all. Well, come chop it up with your boys. We are waiver wired tight. Awthentik and the Beard. Every Sunday morning, streaming live at 11 a.m.
Hey, man, before we get to that Giants game, I have one more little nugget for y'all. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys were facing their 7th straight road loss, and they broke that streak against them Chargers on Sunday, man. Pretty crucial, man.
Okay, before we get into it then, because the little nugget thing just reminded me, we got to get that 99-cent membership up so we can have people put in nuggets, personalized nugget emojis in the chat.
Fantastic idea. So, all right, we're gonna book it. We're gonna book it. By next week, we're gonna have the membership up. It's gonna be as cheap as we could possibly make the membership.
99 cents.
99, you know? And that way we get some cool emojis going on, because we need some beard emojis. You know, we need some things, man. We need some things, you know? But let's get to this Giants at Washington. I wrote the old team name there. That's you're terrible, Awthentik. Get it right. So this is the 5th straight 0-2 start for the Giants, man. It's looking pretty bad, even though we played pretty well in this game. The Giants have lost 48 times since 2017. Like, it almost feels like a typo. More than any team in the NFL. The Giants are 0-2 for the 8th time in the last 9 seasons, man. That hurts my soul right now to even just read that. This is Daniel Jones' 29th game, but only his 4th game where he did not have an interception or a fumble. All those 4 games are in Daniel Jones' last 7 games. So Daniel Jones is on the up and up. For people wondering if this is the franchise quarterback, he's trying to show and prove that for sure. He was 22 of 42 in this game for 249 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 9 rushes for 95 yards, which could have been a little bit more if that holding penalty wouldn't have got called. And he had 1 touchdown. So as far as the blame goes, there's no blame on Daniel Jones. Steve Politi of NJ.com says Judge blew a certain victory with his play not to lose approach in the final minutes and failed to show confidence in his quarterback on one of his best days. He snatched defeat from the jaws of victory because the one facet of the game that he is supposed to be his baby, special teams, were flagged for one of the worst penalties in recent franchise history as the Washington football team kicks their 2nd field goal to beat the New York Giants with the beard and Awthentik in attendance, 30-29. You want me to go first on this game, or you want to go first on this game?
We're going to go back and forth. But I'll just say something first before, we go into it.
Oh, before I get in my bag over here?
This game, we were at the game. For those of you that don't know, Awthentik and I go to every New York Giants and Washington game that's here in D.C. This was like our 11th or 12th straight year going to the game. And personally, obviously, it's a little bit different if you win or if you lose, but this was the most exciting matchup between these two teams that we've been to in person, and that's partly because the Giants have been kicking our tail the last few, 4 years. But
big facts.
That being said, the emotional roller coaster of this game was insane.
Oh my God, I felt like we had to win the whole time. It was
the interception, the missed field goal, the made field goal, the penalty, the back. This game probably had 5 or 6 lead changes, ties. It was everything that you could want as a fan at a football game. Obviously,
Remember that thing? Remember that thing? Hey, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you holding me down one time.
So, it was pretty crazy. And I watched the, some of the content creators from the parking lot. I tuned in to
Oh, you
Tainer.
did?
Yeah, because I was watching, Tainer, and he went live, and it was 1.6 thousand people watching when we were in a parking lot. I was watching
Shout out Entertainer.
him. And then, I had to go watch Cop Pizzle because Cop Pizzle did a live stream, and I don't know if you got a chance to watch the end of his live stream when the field goes. Oh, man, you got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out.
It is an absolute classic. But big shout out to the Giants fans, though, because the Giants fans were in that stadium deep.
Yep.
And it made it almost it made the atmosphere a little bit more crazy than I thought it was even going to be, because you're so engulfed in the game, and there's Giants fans next to you, Washington fans next to you, behind you, in all these different corners, and we're right there in the mix. So it was a crazy experience. It was an emotional roller coaster of a game. We're fortunate that we came out on top. I will say that I'm not going to be one of these people that feeds you some fairy tale story. We got lucky. We got lucky.
Y'all got lucky when James Bradbury got the interception. There was a Washington football team fan who was sitting like 2 rows in front of us, and he kept the whole game. He just kept saying, "Smells like Chase Young," because he was like hoping for a sack. So as soon as we get that pick, I'm screaming at him, "Smells like Chase Young!" And then when the kick goes through the uprights, I had to dap him up and say, "Hey, good game, brother. Good game. I appreciate you for shouting out Chase Young's name." But you know what I want to throw out there real quick before I get into a bunch of nuggets for this game. Montez Sweat might be the better of the 2 pass rushers over there. I looked at Bobby Skinner's review from Talking Giants, man, on our offensive line, and man, Montez Sweat looks bigger, stronger, maybe quicker, not faster. Chase Young, I'm not saying he's like far behind him or anything like that, but to have 2 guys like that on the edge is that's what I want in the New York Giants. If we could get 2 people like that on the edge, we'd be our defense would 100% be a top 10 defense right now at this point. But
and also real quickly on that point, like sometimes we get caught up so much in the stats, right? And if you look at it, they might right now 2 games into the season, they might not have a lot of sacks between the 2 of them, right? But the interior right now, Jonathan Allen and Payne are playing some of their best football that they've played. And, the PFF grades or whatever, they're like the top interior linemen right now. And I think that has a lot to do with the presence of Sweat and Chase Young on the outsides also.
For sure, man. Montez Sweat, I believe it's 18 sacks in 2 seasons. So definitely a bona fide baller. And where was he drafted? He was a first-round pick too, right?
Yeah, we traded up to get him. In the end of the second, in the end of the first round, we were contemplating taking him at the earlier pick, the pick that we ended up taking Haskins with, but we drafted Haskins and then traded back into the first round to draft Montez Sweat at the end of that.
Yeah, that's looking like a fantastic move. I'm hoping that the Giants can draft better because right now it's like Andrew Thomas has been showing up, but outside of that, the draft picks are kind of suspect. But this Giants game, man, I got to go to the penalties right off the bat. For a guy who's preaching, discipline, mental toughness, and all this stuff, to have 11 penalties in this game, and I'm going to go through each of the ones to me that stood out the most. Up 7-0 early, we had back-to-back false starts while we were pretty much in territory in field goal range to kick a kick that knocked us out of field goal range. Giants are forced to punt there, which reminds me of the Eagles game versus the 49ers. It's like those possessions when you get down there and you leave with no points early in the game, that's how you lose football games. Look at the Cowboys against the Chargers. They went up 7-0. They had that long drive that took about 8 minutes to start the game, and then they come down and they score again on the next possession. When you go up like 13-3, 10-3, 10-0, those are the differences between a game because once you get up, you can call a different game plan. We know about the C.J. Board holding penalty on the big Daniel Jones run. The Giants come up short, and then we're 3rd down after the penalty. We end up kicking a field goal on 4th and 2 there. A lot of Giants fans wanted us to go for it there, but I think it's the right call there because you can't leave 2 possessions like that out on the table and come away with no points. We know about the Dexter Lawrence offsides at the end of the game. A lot of people in the media were saying the NFL came out and said they were wrong on that. I looked at it a bunch of times. He jumped early. I don't know if he was in the neutral zone, but you see him move before the ball moves. I saw Marcellus Wiley talking about it on Speak for Yourself, and he was saying those are Cortez Kennedy vibes is what he was saying. He was like, Cortez Kennedy used to be one of the best at just getting off the ball, and they were saying, like, maybe he was guessing, back in the day. They were saying there's no way that Cortez Kennedy can move before the ball moves and not be offsides. So that you're thinking that Dexter Lawrence might be trying to get a jump like that, but at the same time, you're not going to block the kick, so what are you doing? You got to stay on sides on that one and make it so that there's, without a doubt, no penalty there for us to lose that game. And if you see it when you guys made the kick on the second or on the first one, when you missed the kick, everybody on the Giants sideline started celebrating except Joe Judge. He knew it off the bat that we were offside. So that says a lot to me. I don't know if he's teaching them some kind of technique to maybe try to get a bull rush and get in there, but that's terrible. You also had to delay a game coming out of a timeout. What?
That's I mean,
it's undisciplined, man. And lastly, on the game-winning drive for Washington, the guy that Patrick Graham has been talking up all offseason, you get Lorenzo Carter on a neutral zone infraction. You stop the clock not only, but also you allowed him to advance the ball past midfield. Like, it's bonehead plays. So outside of everything that happened with the 3 calls or whatever that we had after the James Bradbury interception, your defense just lets you down. And this is the problem with the New York Giants. There's no identity. Last year, the identity was this defense. Everybody was hyped up about the identity being the defense. But when you see the Washington football team have a drive that goes pretty much 80 yards in 17 seconds with a big play to McKissick coming out the backfield man-to-man, and I will give Patrick Graham some kudos on this. You had Tay Crowder out in coverage on McKissick on that run. On that pass play on the wheel route, and he got burnt. There's about a good yard and a half gap between him and the receiver on that play. He took him out of the game, and you saw Peppers in on the actual game winner drive where he made a play on that, and Peppers was barely in position to make that play too. Tay Crowder, man, I don't want to jump the gun. I don't think he's the guy. I really don't think he's the guy. I saw him on the James Bradbury interception. He was so lost on the play. Granted, you don't want to be like sicing a celebration and whatnot, but when everyone went down to the end zone to celebrate the play, Tay Crowder's just on the field, just lost, running around trying to figure things out, and then ran back to the sideline. I'm looking at him like, bro. But I think the one thing we could look forward to, I saw Logan Ryan, his press conference, and he said we have to improve week to week. And I think that should be the motto for the Giants. I'm on record saying that the Giants defense is overrated coming out of last season. Everybody in Giants community thought this is going to be a top 3, top 5 defense because we got the lockdown corner that we needed on the opposite side of James Bradbury with Adoree Jackson, who played a pretty decent game. He made a couple of plays in that game. I like the breakup he had early, but it's all about adjustments here. And Washington adjusted because the first fade route that went on Adoree Jackson's side, I believe it was either in the second quarter or in the third quarter. He made a play on the ball. Y'all had the rookie out there, what's his name? Dyami Brown. Dyami Brown. He was out there, couldn't make the play, and y'all adjusted. The next time y'all ran the exact same play out of the exact same formation, and you had the bigger wide receiver now out there in Seals Jones, who I think y'all just acquired actually just recently, and he went up.
He was actually with us from the training camp. We kept him and we cut.
But first year, right? With Washington.
No. He used to play for the Cardinals. He had one big year.
That's what I'm saying. But
is
this his second year with Washington or first year?
No, first year here. But
that's what I'm saying. This is first year with Washington, and they made that adjustment. Perfect ball from Taylor Heineke. You can't place a fade route better than that up high for a guy that size. So it's all about the adjustments, in-game adjustments. Graham Gano for the Giants was amazing, and when we talk about the lack of aggressiveness, maybe that's why Graham Gano was amazing, because we look at that drive and. I was on record saying that I thought running the ball there was probably the move. I didn't really say it was the move, but I wasn't too upset with Jason Garrett and Joe Judge running it twice and then passing it on third down. But going back and looking at it, you're an NFL coach, man. I don't get paid big bucks to do what I do and talk about football. They're paying you millions of dollars to understand this game. When I went back and I looked at it and analyzed the situation, 2:16 left on the clock. The Washington football team has 3 timeouts. And for me, a touchdown there doesn't seal the victory at even, right? A field goal is one thing to go up and get the lead, but a touchdown there is not going to seal the win because the Giants are down by 1. So you're looking at a score and go for a 2-point conversion to try to make it a 7-point game where the way our defense was playing, Washington could probably run down the field and get a touchdown themselves and tie that game up and maybe send us to overtime. So I don't want to look at this like, if Jason Garrett was aggressive, that somehow wins the game for the Giants because y'all went down on the field on us anyway. Penalties, undisciplined play got y'all to get close enough to the red zone anyway to be able to make an attempt at scoring a touchdown, even if we do score the touchdown. So for me, the run on the first down was a 1-yard run from Saquon Barkley. The offensive line is struggling when it comes to run block. I don't care what nobody say. I see people out here saying, yeah, they're not that bad. No, this Giants team, the run blocking is awful, and that's the reason why Devontae Booker is averaging 2.7 yards a carry, and Saquon Barkley, outside of the big run, is I think it was 13 carries for 12 yards. Can't be like that. So we got to find a way to run block. We know Nick Gates with the gruesome broken leg injury in this game. That's going to hurt our run block. They brought in Billy Price to play center. And looking at Bobby's breakdown, I'm going to be going to Bobby for the offensive line breakdowns from now on out. He breaks down offensive line stuff like really amazing. And he showed Price wasn't the guy in this game. Y'all got away with a trip on my man Saquon Barkley too. Your boy Holcomb was being blocked up, and he put a leg out, bro. and literally trip Barkley, who was about to break for probably a 15-yard run at bare minimum. But for me, the Giants got to clean things up. The penalties is a reason why we lose this game. Coaching is a reason why we lose this game. So now y'all got me. I'm on record. I'm saying I don't agree with the way that they ran the 3 plays simply because of that, because even if you score the touchdown, Washington can go down there and score a touchdown. So Giants got to clean this up. I think defensively, we're all waiting. We're waiting for this defense to show up. Leonard Williams, they paying you the big bucks, bro. I know you don't got help on the edge, but we need to see you. Maybe they need to move Leonard Williams out to the edge more. He can play the edge. I had an argument with somebody on Twitter last year, I'll never forget, where they were saying, no, Leonard Williams is a defensive end. And I was like, well, not really, because throughout his whole career, he's been a D tackle for the most part, but they do play him on the edge. 3-4 scheme, you're going to see him out there on the edge, but maybe they got to find a different way. I'm looking for Patrick Graham to do something with this defense, to make the adjustment, understand your personnel and understand what they can and cannot do, and put them in position to make the plays.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because I think I've been thinking about that a lot with the Washington defense, right? Like, maybe there's a problem with not necessarily the scheme, right? But it's very predictable. It's very vanilla. Like, there's not. I remember we talked about this on multiple occasions about moving them around, switching Montez and Chase Young on the sides.
Which
stuff
you saw
like
a little bit of that in this game.
But like, it's just, to me, there's not a lot going on, and I was listening to somebody and we were talking about, is it possible that maybe Washington runs a single high safety, right? Maybe bring down Cameron Curl, bring down Landon Collins, to kind of make up for, or add a 4th linebacker to kind of make up.
Well, now look, check this out. So I went back. Remember, I was filming a lot at the game. So I went back and I looked at a lot of the footage that I had. Y'all had safety, one high safety a lot of the time. Y'all would show the strong safety in the box, and he would fall back sometimes. But for the most part, y'all were single high. Safety single high. On Galladay's side, which that opened up a lot of things for Shepard. Shepard had an incredible game here, too. I don't got the stats. Let me see if I can pull these up, because Shepard is – he needs to be talked about more. He's on pace
he's
to have a
leading the
really
league
good
in receptions. He had 9 catches for 94 yards. And
he had a 100-yard game the first time. I want to say it was on 9 catches too. So big shout out to Sterling Shepard. I see. I want to just respond to one comment in the chat real quick from Ivan, who says Barkley had lanes to run on those plays. On one of them, on the 3 plays or 2 plays that he got, on one of them he had a decent lane. He did, but as a total in the game, he's not getting the lanes that he deserves. I mean, so many plays were blown up, and a lot of it happened dead in the middle of our offensive line. With Price being at center, Nick Gates didn't allow a sack all of last season, and Price came in and allowed a sack in this game. Daniel Jones was sacked 4 times in this game, I believe. So, for me, it's like we need to get these clear-cut lanes for Barkley to be like, get to the second level. That's where Barkley can do damage, is when he gets to the second level. I think that's primary for this offensive line, to be able to do that.
And I think also, you have to remember this. There's a couple of things you have to remember when we're talking about Saquon Barkley. First thing is, the dude is coming. I mean, yes, he's back, and yes, he is a different breed of a human, but he is off of a major injury, okay? Like, this is his 2nd game back, and he's played against 2 really good defenses. So I think people need to pump the brakes on giving up on Saquon Barkley at this juncture.
People definitely got to pump the brakes on giving up on him, but I also don't want to see people giving him a pass because of the injury. If you out there and you healthy, you know my rule, man. You got to play, bro. Play like
exactly.
you 100%.
And that's what I'm saying is that, like, I'm not trying to make an excuse. I'm just stating that those are facts. Right now, like, you played against Washington, you played against Denver. Those are both 2 really good defensive teams, And then as far as our linebacking core goes, there's a lot of people throwing a lot of hate at Jamin Davis, our 1st-round draft pick. But he played a lot better in this game than he did the first game. He was one of our highest-rated defensive players, in this game. And I think, Bostic is a big problem. Holcomb has been playing really well.
Holcomb with that trip, man. He's doing everything he can. I don't like that play from him. I really don't like that.
I think they got. I didn't see that play, so I can't speak on it. But
I'll show it to you.
That.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like it's a trip where you literally put the leg out like straight out.
I mean, there's been a lot of suspect reffing all across the league so far this year, so it wouldn't surprise me that they missed that. But maybe they, like I was talking about, switching around some of the defensive people on the Washington side, maybe moving Bostic and switching Bostic and Davis in their linebacking positions. I think that's something that you might want to try and test out.
For you guys, I think it's scheme, bro. I think it's scheme because look, and Jason Ferris, shout out to him, homie from around the way one time. He says, "Does anyone address what the F is wrong with our pass rush on Washington?" And this what I think it is. I told you I think that defense and the New York Giants defense was a little bit overrated. And I don't mean like, yo, they putting them in the top 10 and they're like they should belong at the bottom of the league. I just think that like both these defenses are not the top 5 defense that people think they are, right? And I think with y'all, it's a lot of it has to do with scheme. And I'm not some scheme specialist, but I'm just using my eyes here. There's 2 things y'all rely on for the pass rush. Y'all either just go straight 4 guys, straight at the quarterback, regular way, old traditional style, or y'all like to run stunts up front where Chase Young goes inside and you know the inside guy goes outside. They're relying on that too much because it worked a little bit last year. Where was the blitz? Where was the blitz against New York?
There is no blitz.
There's no blitz. That's why you're not getting pressure on the quarterback. Maybe they're just scared of what's going to happen on the back end.
And so that kind of goes back to what I'm saying though too. Is like if we can bring the blitz, then you bring down one of the safeties to kind of take up for the blitzing linebacker, and maybe that helps get some pressure. But at the same time, we did have 4 sacks in this game.
Right.
So it wasn't like we had.
You're going up against what we know is a really bad offensive line.
Well, I mean, our offensive line is pretty bad too, right? But Cosme, who got destroyed in that first week by Bosa, and was one of the worst, was the second worst tackle on pass blocking in that first week. And what did he do this week? 50 snaps, pass blocking snaps. 0 pressures allowed.
I mean, look, the Giants ain't got no edge rush, bro. We're bad. We're really bad. In the interior, we can get pressure at times, but like you got to look at that as like polar opposites in a way of who you playing up against. You said it. Who'd you play against in week 1?
Joey Bosa.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like now you're going up against O'Shane Zimenez and Lorenzo Carter. Bro, Lorenzo Carter sound like a name made up out of a movie. I don't know what's up with him, but he got to get it together, man. It's like he's not even on the field, man. I felt like there was no real pressure. Taylor Heineke only had pressure on him when he would scramble out of the pocket. You would see a little bit of pursuit, and that was it. He was sacked 0 times on the day, right?
Yeah.
1. He had 1 sack. 1 sack. Got sacked 1 time.
Yeah, Tyler Heineke got sacked 1 time. It's just, I think it's so easy to get crazy, right? It's 2 weeks in the season. You know what I'm saying? Like I was getting really, really upset, and like I'm always on the go, right? And I'm always doing something. So like I've been meaning to try and call in more into the radio, right? But like there's this one person. Her name is like I don't remember her name, Sabat or something like that, right?
Yeah.
She's the biggest Heineke fan in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like crazy. And then, but she talking all this Chase Young overrated business. Chase Young ain't that good. Chase Young is average, okay at best. And I'm just like,
at best. I mean, come on, that's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. But like that's the type of thing.
But that's the hype, man. That's why. It's because of the hype. It's the same reason why people are saying trade Saquon Barkley, because they hype these people up especially to the youth. Shout out to Will on Twitter, 27. He's at 27 on Twitter. Me and him were talking about Saquon Barkley, and he was like, yo, I'm sick of the Giants using Saquon Barkley as a mascot. And I was like, bro, you ain't got disrespect, right? But I felt what he was saying too, because it's like they're trying to market and promote this game to kids, and they're using those people as the face of the franchise a certain way, and they're hyping them up and putting them on a certain pedestal as if they're better or greater than other players on the roster. So with Chase Young, I get it. They're straight hyping this guy up. Like, yo, the people in the Giants community are still mad that we won that last game at the end of that season before the draft that Chase Young got drafted. Like, we could have had Chase Young. Like, that's how we thinking? We can't think like that. But I think that the medium, it almost forces and it brainwashes people a certain way, just like in the rap media, right? Like, they'll be like, it's the best rapper on the planet. But it's like, yo, y'all listening to a good 10 total rappers, like, that they play over and over and over and over and over, which is kind of what happens in the NFL. These certain players that just get boosted and hyped up to the fan bases a little bit more than others. Taylor Heineke's a guy that they're not boosting up. People outside of Washington think Taylor Heineke's like Josh McCown or something.
Yeah.
Like, the dude is a baller. He's been playing well.
And that's the thing is, like, there's not a lot of median out there because there's people in Washington, D.C. who think Taylor Heineke is Tom Brady.
Right.
You know
So there is no medium. It's like, yo, just use your eyes. Like, Taylor Heineke, I know exactly what's wrong with him right now. It's the arm strength. Everything else, he can do it. He reads the game fast. I love what I see out of Taylor Heineke. He does a lot with his legs.
Big shout out to Roldy Lewis for the $10 super chat. Says 100% right, authentic. We have no pass rusher, pissing me off. I told y'all we should have never re-signed Williams. He isn't a true pass rusher. Now we stuck with this dude instead of re-signing Tomlinson.
Which is a great point from Roldy right there because look, you could have took like the salvageable way and kept Tomlinson in the interior, and you could have took the money that you paid Leonard Williams. I think Leonard Williams got like $20 million a year, I think, or something like that. It was something pretty high. I remember that was the benchmark people were talking about. You could have took that money and went out there and got you a couple edge rushers maybe, you know? But I was one of the people that was saying sign Leonard Williams because I didn't want to ruin what the chemistry that the Giants built on this defense in a really fast time. They turned around that defense.
I think he
can't forget about
himself.
the Betcher defenses the Giants had. It was bad.
Man, I just remember the way you would say his name after every game.
Yo, it was bad. And if Giants fans remember, James Betcher was like never at the podium. What's going on? Like, bro, can you explain to me? It's kind of like bad. Jason Garrett, bro. Like, Jason Garrett has a bad game week 1. Can I see him at the podium to explain himself? They were begging for Kenny Galladay. You know, Kenny Galladay was not in the original press conference, right, after the game. And a lot of people in Giants radio, especially people on WFAN, were like, Kenny Galladay has to address what the hell happened. We need to see him in front of the media. And then 2 days later, you see Kenny Galladay in front of the media talking about, you know, oh, that wasn't a blow-up on Daniel Jones. It was a thing with Garrett. And I want to talk about that. I know exactly why he blew up now. When I went back and I looked at the game and I looked at when he blew up, it was after the drive when the Giants got the ball back with about 4:51 left in the game. It was before we punted to y'all, and then Taylor Heineke threw the pick. The Giants went first down to Kyle Rudolph, and then after the first down, they go I think it was an incomplete pass or a run, and then it was 2 straight passes to Darius Slayton on comeback routes on the opposite side of Kenny Galladay. And he's looking at it like, yo, this is crunch time. You're not throwing the ball to me, and I put up the freeze frame of Darius Slayton trying to catch the ball on the sideline, and then me catching the ball on the sideline in my 2-hand touch football league. Bro, you got to open up the palms. You got to catch like this when you get near the sideline because what happens is you get more distance between where the ball is, where you catching it, and where your body can extend to get the feet down. Instead, he catching it like this. He got his hands clutched in tight trying to get his feet down. Bro, we learned that when I was a peewee, bro. You catch the ball with both hands out, palms out to the quarterback. And I love catching like that. Like, I don't understand how a lot of these guys catch with their body and kind of cradle the ball because for me, it's easier to get my hands out and just point the ball. Just diamond point the ball. Throw up the Rockefeller sign. Like you talking to Hove and catch the ball. It's that simple. Instead, he tries to get it in close. He doesn't get it. And then right there, you see Kenny Galladay go to the sideline. He's blowing up on Jason Garrett. Like, bro, scheme me up, bro. I'm the best wide receiver on this team. Scheme me up. Y'all paid me $19 million or whatever it was to come over here. Scheme me up and get me the ball. And he pretty much just said, like, yo, that comes with me. But then he kind of retracted because he know Giants fans is used to Odell Beckham's whole party and fiasco that he had and you know, when he was here. So he was like, that comes with me. But then he was like, I got to be better. You know, I get you trying to man up on it. And it should come with you. You're not a diva wide receiver for going up on the sideline and blowing up. That's the passion that I want from the New York Giants. And the crazy part about this game is in the first quarter, we targeted him early on. I'm like, oh, Kenny Galladay is going to be a part of this game plan. And then he just goes quiet second, third, fourth quarter.
The exact number of targets I predicted.
Oh, how many was it? 8. So Kenny Galladay got 8 targets in this game and only had 2 catches. I thought that was week 1.
Nah, 8 targets.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, and I know Daniel Jones sailed one high on him. He dropped 1, so that's 2 right there. I don't remember what the other targets were. Maybe he had 3 catches. Maybe it was.
I just curious what you think on this because I know what I think. My GM.
I don't know, bro. I don't wear dress shoes, so I don't got no GM shoes. Let me keep it funky with you. I don't know what you get for Barkley right now. Who's going to trade for Saquon Barkley right now? I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Coming off a big injury too.
4 for 5th maybe.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
To me, the problems with Saquon Barkley aren't all on Saquon Barkley.
No.
This team,
no.
the run blocking, it started off slow last year too. You know, so I'm looking for the Giants to figure out a way to get this run blocking better and just like scheme up some good plays, Garrett. Like the RPO needs to be a thing. If you notice on a lot of the RPOs, Daniel Jones kept it. You know, we didn't give a lot of RPO to Saquon Barkley. So hopefully in this game, we'll see a little bit of that. And I want them to combine the reverse with the RPO. You know, they tried to run. Oh, man, I took 2 screenshots of this, too. They ran the exact same play out of the exact same formation to Sterling Shepard in this game against Washington that they did with Kadarius Toney in week 1 against the Broncos, and it got blown up by the exact same position. So there's something wrong with that play, Jason Garrett. In this game, it was Montez Sweat. He blew it up. He didn't make the tackle, but he blew it up. Sterling Shepard tried to spin out of it, and Chase Young came around and got the tackle. In the game against the Broncos, when they ran it against Kadarius Toney, or when they ran it with Kadarius Toney against Von Miller blew it up. So, and what's crazy to me is they're leaving the defensive end free. In this game, they didn't even give him a little shave block. I think they had a little bit more respect for Von Miller. So they had Kyle Rudolph give him a little cheap shave block, then he went to the next level. In this game, he didn't even block Montez Sweat. They're just thinking that the reverse is going to get past the defensive end because of speed. No. Throw that play out.
Not in today's NFL. With them
Nope.
speed, you saw the play. Chase Young was literally running stride for stride with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Run.
Now, look, I like you brought that up because I saw people saying that if Saquon Barkley doesn't run out of real estate on the sideline, he's going to burn him. I'm sorry. I looked at it he's going to burn him. You could just see Saquon like just made the move and he just getting up, but Chase Young is full speed chasing him from behind already, right? So, you got that. It kind of takes a little bit of time for Saquon to get to the top gear after he made the move. Man, Chase Young was about to get burnt. I saw people saying that on media. Chase Young was about to get burnt like how Landon Collins got burnt by your boy Daniel Jones one time.
Okay, so that was what I was going to get to, too, was because
hey, look, when you see somebody doing this, Tim, you getting burnt.
The next
you getting burnt.
And look, in a street race, the next thing you see after that face is the hand to the back of the hammy.
Yep. Little excuse like, hey, dog, I pulled a hammy, dog. That man, Landon Collins was like,
hey,
dog.
So look, in the game when it happens, Daniel Jones breaks a play, right? At that time, we have no idea what the penalty was, right? On the touchdown run. Jones touchdown with the penalty.
Yeah.
So the penalty, what was the penalty in the end?
I told you. So it was a holding penalty, but it's after he already got the first down. So he had to take it from the spot of the foul.
And who was that penalty on?
That one was on C.J. Board.
C.J. Board.
I don't think it was a hold either. Honestly,
that's
on the big run that
Saquon
Barkley had, there was a bigger hold from Kenny Galladay. They missed that one. So
I mean, like
these referees are just inconsistent.
That's a play too. Like if you're a Washington fan, right? Like, yes, you're happy we got the win, right? But you got to really think about it. Like, there is a very good chance that you lose this game 56-21.
Yeah.
Maybe not 56. I might be exaggerating
40.
a little bit.
I give you 40.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about that play. You got to think about the Darius Slayton drop.
Yep.
That's 14
Which
there.
I'm changing my mind on that one a little bit too. Look, the pressure that y'all had coming down the middle is the reason why that throw wasn't perfect. But that was a good throw. But the reason why, the pressure coming up the middle is the reason why he sailed it a little bit because he tried to get it out quick. Now, if a wide receiver makes that catch, nobody goes, oh, my God, incredible catch. But the difficulty is about a 7 or 8 on that catch, I feel like, because you got to turn the burners up.
A lot of people, it's easy for sometimes it's true. If your hands hit the ball, you got to catch the ball, right? But to go back to what you just said, a lot of people don't understand some of the difficult aspects of catching a pass, right? Which way you're turning. You know what I'm saying? Like coming out of your routes, back shoulder catches.
When you say that, it reminds me of the drop by Chris Godwin week 1 against Dallas because he's literally, first off, he's burning down the field on a seam, and then the ball comes over his opposite shoulder. He barely gets his head around, and then it falls off his fingertips, and people are like, oh, he dropped it. I don't know, bro. Like, the other thing about difficult catches in the NFL is getting yourself in position to even be there to make the catch because a slow wide receiver is not even going to get a hand on that football.
Not even there.
Darius Slayton tried to turn up and get there. the ball hit on his palm. So for me, it's like you got to catch that ball. You know, ain't no excuses on that. You got to catch the ball. But I'm sure Daniel Jones, and he said it in the press conference, he wanted a better ball. You know, he wanted a better ball. You see Derek Carr throw a similar pass in his game when somebody runs down the field wide open like that, and he kind of lollipops it up a little bit. But the pressure doesn't allow Daniel Jones to read it quickly. You know, you kind of want to lead your wide receiver towards the middle of the field on that one and give it a little bit more lob. But that's a good ball. To me, I'm catching that. You know it, Beard. I'm catching that pass. And Slayton, if you're not going to catch it, lay out. And he tried to kind of, you saw him do a little acting. He reached out, falls off the hands, and then he just drops the hands back and falls in the dirt like he dove. Come on, bro. He owned up to it, though, man. I got no beef with that play. You know, you got to catch that, but he owned up to it. I got no beef with it. Craig Carton and on WFAN, he has a show, Carton and Roberts. I've been just getting hip to this. It's funny because I'm in the Washington, D.C. market, so I don't get a lot of WFAN stuff like a lot of people in New York do, and I'm just getting hip to a lot of that stuff. But he said, Jason Garrett called a good enough game to score 40-plus points. What else do you want from that guy? And credit for you, the Beard, what you were saying, you were like, Daniel Jones looks better when he's in an up-tempo offense. And what did the Giants run all game? Up-tempo offense all game, and we executed well. The RPO kept y'all really off balance all day long because of how fast we were maneuvering at the line. I love the game plan. The one thing I wish that they could pull back on was just be more aggressive in the red zone when you get the pick back from James Bradberry. You know, and maybe you put up 7 there, you go for 2.
Bro,
7-point game.
that pick. So it's crazy. I was talking to Awthentik before we went live, and I was talking about how, like, if you like just were to look at the team stat sheets next to each other, it's super similar. You know, and obviously both teams had a slew of penalties. You know, like I think you guys had 11, and I think we had 9
11.
Something.
Yep,
Not
11
something
and 9.
along those lines. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like that's just unacceptable. And no matter who you're playing, no matter when the game is, what time of the year it is, you just can't have that many penalties, right? But then like the play calling in certain situations towards the end of the game was crazy because it's like on completely opposite ends of the field too. So it's like think about like this: like you guys have the discussion about okay how the play calling was handled. You know, when you guys got into the red zone, right? And it's like, how was the play calling handled on our end trying to get out of our own end zone? You know what I'm saying? Like, should Taylor Heineke have even been passing that ball? You know what I'm saying?
I want to show you something because this is all about adjustments, and I'm hoping this can upload quick enough. So I want to show a quick play. We shouldn't get demonetized because this is coming right off of my camera, so this shouldn't demonetize us from the NFL. But check this out real quick. Okay, so reason why I bring that play up, right, is if you look at James Bradberry on that play, he's behind Darnay Holmes, who's in the flats, right? And Darnay Holmes realizes too late, oh, my God, like you got 4 guys covering one half of the field pretty much, and they can't cover the 3 wide receivers for Washington. You guys killed us with that early on with that zone defense. Now, on the Bradberry pick, they adjusted, and Bradberry stayed low. Terry McLaurin is actually coming across to be the short route from the right side, and Bradberry stayed low on it. And that's how he jumped the gun and he got the pick. I think Taylor Heineke might have thought we were going to be in that soft style of zone like we had been all day long. Y'all beat us up on that play right there like 2 or 3 times, and kudos to Patrick Graham, who usually takes a whole game to adjust. He did make the adjustment there, and Bradberry's right in position to make the interception. But the offense just doesn't capitalize on it. And I do feel where you're coming from a little bit too with Taylor Heineke. You know, you're backed up in your own territory there, but you're losing the game, and this could quite possibly be the last drive you get.
Well, no,
you know?
at that point in time, we were winning the game.
Oh, actually, yeah, y'all are winning by 1. Y'all are winning by 2 there, 2 points there. Yeah, so you're winning by 2. You know, for me, it's like crazy. You got to get yards there. You don't want to allow the New York Giants to win the field position battle there and punt it to us, and we get the ball, like, let's say, on our own 40, maybe close to midfield, come down, beat you on a field goal. You know, I think you coached it up pretty right.
And it's always easier to discuss play calling and decision-making in hindsight. You know what I'm saying?
Hindsight coaches and hindsight GMs. If you want to find them, we all over Twitter all day.
So it's just kind of crazy. But, you know, just to go back to Taylor Heineke, I thought, you know, overall, he played a great game. And he finally got that first win of his career, you know, and he only had that 1 turnover. His high throws are still, you know, an issue. But, I mean, I think that's something that can probably be fixed over time. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he performs against Buffalo. You know what I'm saying?
My man, Roddy. Let's go. Hey, Roddy, dog, that Kurt Warner film breakdown on Daniel Jones and the Giants offense, how he was talking about when we do the vertical routes, how we need to lean them across the field. I forget the terminology he used. Yo, Kurt Warner is a boss, man. He was breaking down those plays so vicious, man. I'm glad you watched that video, Roddy, because that gave me a lot of insight into the Giants offense, into the scheme, man, like straight up.
Shout out to Roldy for the $10 super chat. After watching Kurt Warner film on Jones, I noticed the issues are a combination of Jones and Garrett.
Yep.
I'm sick and tired of seeing other teams make easy on offense mean while it's hard for us.
Straight facts, Roldy. Straight facts, man. Like, they're literally eliminating some of our wide receivers on some of these routes by just trying to make them a decoy for the safeties. But then the safeties are playing over the top, and all you got to do is go across the safety, and Daniel Jones has another option. He showed oh, man, one of them was such a great breakdown. He was like, when I was playing with the Rams, right, he was like, what we would do is with the outside wide receiver on vertical routes, we would have him run 18 yards and do an 18-yard comeback so that last minute, if my reads that were shorter weren't there, I know worst come to worst, if I get the time and the protection, I got an 18-yard comeback as my bailout route in the end of things. And he showed a sack that Daniel Jones took on a play where Kenny Golladay was just running the fly and nothing there. And he also talked about when you run the fade route in the NFL, not in the red zone, it has to be the first option or the timing is not going to work out. So when you're running guys on streaks and fade routes, if it's not the first option, you're pretty much saying that guy's not going to be in the play.
Yeah.
So he was saying to counter that, you could run 18-yard comeback on that outside route with Kenny Golladay all day. I hope Jason Garrett saw that video. And any of y'all in the chat who have not seen that Kurt Warner breakdown of Daniel Jones and Jason Garrett in the scheme, oh, my God, it is like, it's fantastic. It's one of the best play-by-play breakdowns I've ever seen, man. And I subbed up to that channel because I'm lacking the homie, I forget who it was, the backup quarterback for the 49ers for a long time that had that one awesome YouTube channel called The Quarterback School. I haven't seen him at all this year. JT something maybe?
Oh, I remember you talking about him before. Oh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but you used to talk about him a lot last season.
Yeah, man, he had some great quarterback breakdowns. Like, I love seeing a quarterback break down what they see from the quarterback position and from the philosophy and scheme from a team. Like,
JT O'Sullivan.
JT O'Sullivan, yup. I love his channel, man, and it's shot well, everything about it, produced well, and he gives you really good information. But I don't know if it's my algorithm or if he's just not putting out content this year, but I haven't seen one of them this year. I'm about to go look when we get off air. But for those of y'all that didn't see that Kurt Warner joint, man, just search Kurt Warner, Daniel Jones. It's an amazing breakdown. And Daniel Jones is that guy. And I don't get to see Daniel Jones in person a lot play on the field. Seeing him on the field, it was like I played quarterback, so I be looking for the open player, and I'm like, nobody open. He throwing them open, man. He's got all the intangibles to be a great quarterback in this league, and I just feel like maybe the team is kind of failing him now after seeing it in person, or maybe I just saw him in one of his better games. But
yeah, I mean, it was definitely one of his top 3 games, right? For sure.
Yeah. RPO was up there.
Second.
QBR was up there as one of his highest.
But, I mean, that was one of the interesting things, too, and I mentioned this to Awthentik when we were at the game. It's like the seats that we had, it was really dope because when you're watching the offense come towards you, you really get a good perspective of the receivers and how they run their routes. And it was really interesting to see that, and you really get a good perspective of the back end of the defense when you're watching
and the pass protection when they're going the other way.
Exactly. When they're going the other way, you really see how, because like on TV, it's so like compressed. So the pocket looks, it looks crazy when you look at the pocket on TV.
Right.
But when you see it in person, the field's a lot wider in person than it is on TV. So you really get to see that perspective of the offensive line, how they protect the quarterback, how the quarterback is making his reads too, his progressions and how the quarterback moves within the pocket, how he responds to pressure. So I thought that was really dope too, just being able to see that, like, especially with somebody like Daniel Jones, who gets a lot of flack for the way that he, handles things in the pocket. To see him in person, it looks completely different,
It
than
did.
what you
It
see
really
on
did,
TV.
man. He seems to hang in the pocket until the last absolute second, and then he tries to bail out, which is probably why, like, the fumbles were an issue for him, the first season and a half or whatnot. he was having difficulty with that because he's really trying to hang in there and make the play, man. He's a gutsy quarterback, man. I really like what I see out of Daniel Jones. Sterling Shepard combination is coming together. We just got to see Kenny Golladay get a little bit more in the mix, and Kadarius Toney could be a guy, man. I'm blaming Kadarius Toney on Jason Garrett until further notice because a guy with that kind of skill set, explosive, dynamic, you got to find a way. I don't care if you put him as a guy on punt return or kick return, something. Find a way to get the ball into this kid's hands so that the fans can see if he can make plays. I'll take the reverse. Just scheme it right. Like I told you with the reverse, like two of the best defensive linemen in the game, you're not going to block him on a reverse right to his side. You hoping that your guy can run past him. That's not a good play. It's just not a good schemed up play. You got to find a better way to get the ball in his hands. And maybe some hitch screens and things like that could work out for him too, He was a decoy a lot on the field in that game. I want to say he only had 15 snaps in that game against Washington. So for me, it's like, get Kadarius Toney in the mix. And a couple little things I want to throw out there about Heineke as well too, man. The 17-second drive, two of his best throws in the game. The wheel route and then the back end zone throw. Just perfect.
Brody says, hold up, Awthentik. I said the issues are a combination of Jones and Garrett. Warner was showing
of course.
Jones made a few mistakes too.
Of course. But the thing is, every quarterback going to make mistakes in a game. We expect that. You don't want to see the same amount of mistakes your quarterback making from the play caller. That's not a good look. Daniel Jones definitely had some throws out there that were completely just off. The 3rd and 7 being one of them when we were in the red zone there after the James Bradbury interception. I'm putting that on Jones. They gave you an opportunity. People saying Sterling Shepard wouldn't have got the first down. If you lead him on that, he's getting that first down. Instead, you get a little bit of pressure. And, Kurt Warner, that was one of the plays he broke down, Roldy. I was telling the Beard about this off air, how he didn't get the extra step to plant and throw the ball. He did that wide kind of stance when he threw the ball. He's off balance. The throw's on the back shoulder. You're not even giving Sterling Shepard a chance to put up 7 on the board here, a new set of downs, or maybe a 4th and 1 that you could possibly go for that late in the game. So, yeah, Daniel Jones is not perfect by any means. And I do think that people are kind of maybe overhyping this game against Washington. Daniel Jones has played really good against Washington throughout his career. Now he's 4-1 against Washington. So I'm like, I need more proof in the pudding. Like, earlier, somebody was saying, do we start Daniel Jones against Atlanta over Tom Brady against the Rams? I'm taking Tom Brady against the Rams all day. Jones has not proven that much to me. It's one good game. Don't let him come out here against Atlanta and give me a fumble and 2 interceptions. We right back down to earth.
Man, if that happens.
But you got to look at that stat I said, too, where, it was 4 games where he hasn't turned the ball over in his whole career. All 4 of them came in the last 7 games. So my thing is, like, we feel like Daniel Jones is bubbling a little bit. The fire kind of roasting a little bit. We just got to throw some gasoline on that thing and get him really, really right and get the help around him, man. These weapons that everybody was talking about we needed. I'm one of the guys who was saying that. They not really adding that much to this offense yet. I'm looking for this offense to really open up. Darius Slayton can be a weapon. He had a good game outside of that drop and outside of not getting his feet down. That one's not going to show up on the stats, but the drop is. Outside of that, Darius Slayton looking a little bit better. But, like, we just need consistency, man. The Giants need consistency. We need to put together back-to-back wins, if you ask me, if we want to try to salvage this season.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you with Washington. Washington, that's their biggest thing, too, is they're going to need to start to show some consistency. And it just has to be that that weekly improvement. You saw Cosme make that improvement, on the pass blocking, and the offense definitely made some improvement scoring at least this game. And then, defensively there was more pressure than the first game against the Chargers, albeit it's a different opponent. But, you still want to continue to see that sort of progression within your team and with the individuals on the team as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then one name, obviously, we didn't get a chance to talk about because this guy just seems to do everything right, but he deserves to get a little bit of love, is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is like there's always been a lot of talk, like, back and forth debates, where does he rank in the league and this and that. And I understand, there's a lot of really, really good receivers in the National Football League. But Terry McLaurin is one of the most, has been proving that he is one of the most reliable wide receivers in the National Football League this early on in his career, for sure.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
definitely agree with you, man. And y'all don't win that game without him out there on the field.
absolutely not. No
Dude's
way.
making the catch he had in the end zone opposite of us, just a great catch. The ball's on his back shoulder, kind of. He just turns, makes that catch look easy. Definitely a ball. I like what I'm seeing out of your whole wide receiver core, too. You know, I was sleeping on Adam Humphries, but they used him very well in the short passing game. And the 3rd and 5 to keep the drive alive on the game-winning drive, that was Adam Humphries, who got pushed out of bounds by Peppers late there. Definitely like what I'm seeing out of him. The rookie, De'Ami Brown, had the big catch in the first half, too. A big catch, man. Went up there and snagged that ball. So, I mean, I think y'all are going to be good, especially when Curtis Samuel comes back off this injury, man. Y'all wide receiver cores, that whole weapons conversation, we might have to revisit that when y'all get healthy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting these next couple of weeks. We got a tough matchup, you know, and hopefully
Who do y'all got
guys
this week again?
We got Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo, yeah.
In Buffalo.
But y'all match up well against them, I think, you know? Think about how Pittsburgh played them week 1. A lot of defense. If y'all defense can show up, you get a little bit of pressure on Josh Allen. I think y'all can make that game close. I ain't going to pick y'all to win it today, but I think y'all can make that game close.
Yeah, so we are back, just so everybody knows, every Thursday also at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be an interesting matchups this time around.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the previews on Thursday, man. You know, I just want new football in my life now, man. Week 2 was like tough, bro.
So long, right?
It's been long, and week 2 was just like, man, dog. Week 2 really beat me down. You know, those kind of losses can ruin your week, man. Especially like, you know, when you got to go to work or you got to go to school or something like that, dog. You be in school blown the whole week, and the week feels slow every day. You got to hear those fans talk about, you know, Washington football team fans, especially out here, just keep saying, "Yeah, we got y'all. We snuck out with one." You know, it's like it's very disheartening, man, as a Giants fan, and some of these statistics that are coming out, you know, about our team over the past 4 seasons, man, it's becoming embarrassing. The Giants are becoming the new Cleveland Browns, and they got to find a way to fix this, man. I'm placing the emphasis on Joe Judge right away, bro. Like, you got to find a way to win these games. You know, these close, tight games like this. I know you trying to play it safe and things like that. You don't want to like make a play or call a play that's gonna, you know, ruin your team's chances to get the W. But at the end of the day, man, they paying you the big bucks. You got to do what you got to do to get these dubs. And Giants fans are getting impatient, man. I said it at the beginning of the segment here. 48 losses since 2017. That's crazy.
Milk the Cow says, Awthentik, I saw on Twitter and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Somebody said that by the deadline, they could easily see the Giants trading for Preston Smith. I don't know. It depends what we give up, but I don't know.
I mean, it definitely depends. The Giants don't seem like the kind of team that makes a lot of off-season or in-season transactions. You know, that's never been a thing unless there's some crucial glaring problems. So for me, it's like, I got to see this because the trade deadline is week 7, right? Did they change that at all with the extra game?
I'm assuming they probably changed that, yeah.
Might have pushed that back a little bit. I want to see the Giants up until the bye. That's my whole thing. Can they beat some of these teams on the schedule that are like, you know, those games where we thought we might not win? And let's pull up this Giants schedule one time. I think I still got it here. Yep. You know, Broncos and Washington, I was hoping that we could get one of those out of the 2. Now I'm feeling like you got to go back-to-back against the Falcons and the beatable Saints. So then you'll have a 2-2 record going into that game against Dallas, which will be a big-time game if the Giants can get back to 2-2.
That Dallas game is going to be huge for you guys.
That game's going to be huge. And this Eagles game against Dallas, I think it's a wash because, you know, you're looking at 2 teams coming in 1-1, somebody coming out of that 1-2, which is good. That's good for the Giants, right? You got a divisional matchup there. But that Dallas game week 5, that's going to be a major one. I'm not seeing wins against the Rams. The Carolina game is a game that, man, Joe Judge, that's you against Matt Rule. You got to show up, man, and show that you on his level. New coach doing big things over there in Carolina. He's got 2 wins already 2 weeks into the season, and then the schedule gets brutal before the bye with the Chiefs and the Raiders. So for me, I'm looking at 2 wins back-to-back. I'm hoping for 2 wins back-to-back against the Falcons and against the Saints. That'll put us at 2-2 with a big game against the Cowboys. Hopefully you could get that win. You come out of that 3-2. You take a L to the Rams. You 3-3. Panthers will be a big game. If you could get the 4-3 right there, take the L to the Chiefs, take the L to the Raiders, you go into that bye 4-5 with a chance. Don't go into this bye 2-7.
and they come out to bye to play Tampa Bay.
It's a wrap. I'm telling you, it'll right by that bye, it will be a wrap. So the Giants got to get it together immediately. You lost one of these games. The Washington game is the game that you really should have came out. You played that game to win that game. You know, we really showed out and should have won that game. Now you got to get another one of these on the schedule. We need a surprise win. And for me, it's either going to be a surprise win against the Carolina Panthers, or if you can play the Raiders tight. But as of right now, y'all know I'm on that Derek Carr bandwagon. Derek Carr out here playing great football, and the Giants are struggling to cover the middle of the field. So Darren Waller should be able to just completely go off. That's going to be a bad matchup for Peppers or whoever's out there trying to cover him. So for me, Giants got to get to that bye, 4-5-ish, something like that, if you want to have a chance to try to make a run in this division, because that late stuff's not going to work. We already know. We tried that last season. It's not going to work. Giants got to get this together very quickly, man. It's tough because Washington's right there. Everybody knows Washington probably going to be in the mix at the end of the season. And Washington's schedule's pretty tough too. But you look at this here, they got the Bills coming up. We need the Falcons with a surprise. The Giants fans need the Falcons to surprise the Washington football team. And maybe the Saints.
If we steal one, it's definitely got it. This Buffalo game is, when y'all look at the schedule, the Buffalo game is super important. So say we're 1-1 now. Say if we can squeeze out that win against Buffalo, that puts us at 2-1. We can beat the Falcons. That puts us at 3-1. And then the Saints game, let's say we can pull that out 4-1. That would be ideal.
Look,
obviously,
I'm willing to make a bet with you. There's no way the Washington football team sneaks out wins against the Buffalo Bills and the Saints, both of them. There's no way. You want to hope for one of those. And if you get that, we're going to come back and revisit this, and you can call me out. But I don't know. I don't know what the chat's saying here, but there's no way y'all beat both those teams.
Because the stretch after that is
brutal. The Broncos are a team that can beat y'all. So you're looking at 4 games that are losable. 5,
Chiefs,
6, 7.
Packers, Broncos, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Seattle, Raiders. You could go 0-7 there.
You really could go 0-7 there. You really could.
Easily.
And then you got to come out and play a divisional game against Dallas. We know what Dallas is about. Dallas offense is a problem.
Then we end with four divisional games. So
yeah, which you could look at those as four winnable games. I mean, for me right now,
the schedule looks worse.
Yeah, it's looking worse for y'all. It's looking worse for y'all now. You sitting at 1-1 right now. I'm gonna say y'all get a loss to the Bills, 1-2. You could beat the Falcons. You go to 2-2. I'm gonna say a loss. I'm gonna say a loss to the Saints. Oh my God, 2-3. Loss to the Chiefs, 2-4. Loss to the Packers, 2-5. I give y'all the Broncos, 3-5. Loss to the Bucks, 3-6. 3-6 when you get to Carolina. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there. And then you got 2 losses. Go ahead and get caught up, but you got 2 more losses there too with the Seattle Seahawks and probably the Raiders.
Yeah, it's
8 losses right
don't
there.
Look at that. Don't bring that schedule.
Oh, Diggy must have missed the whole conversation
Diggy missed
about
the whole
that.
conversation.
Yeah, I think I'm the one that broke the Kurt Warner video on Twitter. I think I'm the one. But yo, that breakdown is fantastic. Shout out Simon Coleman one time too.
Says, would you rather Judge be safe with plays like he has been, or take chances like the Ravens on 4th down Sunday night?
Hey, Bobby Skinner brought up something hilarious about that whole sequence about the Ravens. He was like, oh, y'all want the Giants to be aggressive like the Ravens, so you mean run it twice on 1st and 2nd down and then pass it on 3rd down, because that's exactly what the Ravens did. And then they went for it on 4th down when it was a 4th and short. DJ got to make the throw on 3rd and 7 if you want the Giants to look like the Ravens. But let's not forget, too, pump the brakes, man. We're talking about Lamar Jackson here. We got to put some respect on that man's name.
How awesome, though, is that clip?
He said, I'm just supporting local business.
How awesome is that clip, though, when you see Harbaugh run out of the field? Lamar.
That joint's getting overhyped. It's getting overhyped. What Lamar going to say? Go ahead and punt that joint, coach.
That's what I was going to say. Is that how funny would it have been if he was like, man, we got a pretty good punter, coach. I think we should just pin him down.
Yeah, let's punt it. You want to go for it? Quarterback saying, yeah, every time. You asking me? That means you want me to do this. Let's go. I'm with it. 4th down.
I'm Lamar
4th and short. Yeah, and I'm Lamar Jackson, bro. I'm going to run the ball, which the Giants should have definitely had a couple of plays. The 2 runs that they ran, one of them was with Lamar Jackson. So we should have had some RPO dialed up somewhere on 1st or 2nd down. Like, the RPO can kill people, man. I'm telling you. And run it out of the shotgun, too. I want to see that draw RPO that they like to run, too. You can run that close to the goal line as well. And you making teams be off balance. Are we going for Saquon? Are we going to over-pursue Saquon? Are we going to make sure that we contain Danny Dimes so he doesn't run out of the pocket and get another big run?
They're going to have to – let me tell you, the way that Daniel Jones has started this season off with his running, I mean, like we always kind of talked about it last year, mostly because of that one big, the ghost tackle. That kind of put him on the map as a runner more so nationally, I would say.
Sure.
But like these first 2 games, I was telling Awthentik, like he's up there in the top 10 in the league in rushing.
Are we talking about Lamar or Daniel?
Jones.
Oh yeah, Daniel Jones. Yeah, because I mean he's got the big 50-yard run. You know, it was like with the penalty, it was like a 40-yard run.
He's got like what's he got 80 and he's got like 160 yards in his first 2 games and 2
Lamar
touchdowns
Jackson
rushing?
is 3rd in rushing in the NFL right now.
Man,
I'm telling you, man, this is a new day and age in the NFL, man. We could talk about it for hours. I can't even believe we've already been on for 2 hours. But, you know, with Lamar Jackson and guys like Jalen Hurts, people are like, well, they're passing completion percentage, blah, blah, blah. Like, dog, they making plays, man. They keeping their teams in the game. I don't care what's going on. The other thing is, with Lamar Jackson, this wasn't the case in week 1, but usually these guys aren't turning the ball over crazy either because they're escaping and eluding pressure at all times.
This might be one of my favorite comments of the night. Omar whistled pregame. Did you see how they did that, right?
I did not.
So before the game started, they did like a tribute to Michael K. Williams from The Wire, who passed away.
Yeah.
They played the clip of, Omar and The Wire used to do that whistle. So they played that over the loudspeakers in the stadium before the game started.
Oh,
like as
dope.
like a tribute, you know what I'm saying? So like
that was before our game or which game?
No, before the
Ravens.
Ravens game. Yeah, because
Baltimore based.
Baltimore,
Makes
exactly.
sense. Yeah.
So it was a pretty dope moment, and yeah, you definitely can't punt if you're gonna play Omar's
you definitely can't punt.
Game.
That
and this
RCB
is another
Sports
crazy
and
one
Gaming.
too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
4-0 in primetime games so far with Washington. I don't think we lost. I don't think we won. Excuse me. I don't think we won a primetime game in the last like 13 years.
Yeah, that Kirk Cousins era was difficult for sure.
Oh, it was crazy.
But a solid game, man. Nonetheless, man. I definitely enjoyed that Giants at Washington game. I mean, it was fun to be there. It made me want to go to every Giants game, like just being in the stands and just seeing it like that, and then being able to come home and see it from a different perspective, from like all the highlights from TV and rewatching the game. I mean, I thought it was amazing, man. And I'm looking for this defense to just step up. Logan Ryan was, reassuring Giants fans out there, man, like they got this, man. He's not going to go and change anything in his regiment drastically or nothing like that. They just got to get better week to week, which that's what it is. We got 2 weeks down. Giants defense looks pretty pitiful. I'd love to see the numbers to see where they're at. Cowboys defense leading the league right now in takeaways, which is crucial with 6 takeaways. They were
up there last year too, even though their defense was super bad. They were up there in takeaways.
Word. And 9th in points scored. We know that they weren't there. They were
last
32nd
in yards,
defense.
Right?
Yeah, they're 31st in yards right now.
Yeah, wait till
which goes to show you that
offenses get better.
Yeah, I got faith in this Cowboys defense. They're not going to be like a top 10 defense, but I think that right now, if I had to pick a team that's going to make that run out of the NFC East, the Cowboys look poised to do it.
Sure,
Washington, the defense, it seems to be more overhyped than the Giants defense was, and the Giants defense is a major problem.
Let me ask you this. This is kind of like a good transition to when we do the previews coming up. If, let's say, hypothetically, if
Cowboys are 31st in yards allowed defensively, milk the cow. Go ahead, though.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Waterfly telling me to keep the hat on. So the if Washington goes into Buffalo this week, right, and let's say Washington, holds Buffalo to, let's say, under 14 points, okay, and they win the game. Why
are we setting up this hypothetical situation?
Because I want to know about how people perceive things. So does that mean that, do you think people would more be like, okay, Washington's defense is back, or do you think more people are going to be talking about Josh Allen and Buffalo's inconsistency offensively so far this year?
I don't think they'll talk about either, to be honest, because one game can't change the perspective, right? 2 games, y'all came out flat pretty much, right? It reminds me of Daniel Jones, right? It's like one game is not going to change how I feel about Daniel Jones. The realists out there are not going, yo, Daniel Jones is going to be an MVP caliber quarterback. And honestly, I think I jumped the gun on your boy Justin Herbert, too, saying that he might be an MVP candidate at the end of the season, but that team is not ready. And that's the problem, I think, with a guy like Daniel Jones and with the defense with the Washington football team, man. It's just a little bit overhyped. The new personnel's not working out the way we thought it would work out. Same thing goes for the Giants, man. People thought Adoree was going to come in here and it was going to be straight lockdown and teams weren't going to be able to throw the ball against us. Now we got to adjust, and that's where we're going to find out what these teams are really made of. How does the defense adjust now going in, knowing that they're not getting enough pressure on the quarterback with just 4 going at him, and Chase Young too, we want to see him elevate his play. I understand the people who are going to be overreacting to Chase Young. We got to do a giant overreaction for y'all one day. because I see it. Everybody's saying Chase Young's overrated. He had that major penalty in this game on a 2nd and 12 that extended the drive that we ended up scoring on with Daniel Jones on the draw play. And it's a bonehead play. You trying to slam the quarterback in the dirt when you late. So we're just looking for all these things to get ironed out. Well, y'all are at least. Giants fans hope y'all just die in the dirt and we can take over somehow. But I know in Washington, that's what people are looking forward to. They're trying to see this defense step up. I think Taylor Heineke's a guy. I really do. I think Taylor Heineke can take this team to the playoffs, but that defense got to get back to their ways for that to happen. Terry McLaurin and Taylor Heineke, little tandem right there. You saw Logan Thomas get involved in this game a little bit, had a catch or two in the mix. Diami Brown or whatever, he's looking all right. He made a spectacular catch. Jumped up when he got the ball. You got Seals Jones out here catching fade routes, looking like he could do some things. That the offense seems to be not the real big problem. We can't forget about Antonio Gibson. He's still there. He can still run the rock. I don't know how many yards he had in that game. Wasn't a fantastic performance, but I'm looking for him to get better as the year goes along too, man. And I think Washington will be there in the mix.
I'd like to see him run the ball more, to be honest with you, but we'll talk about that on Thursday.
Yeah, we will, man. And y'all got a pivotal matchup coming up against the Bills. I just hope y'all don't go out there and shock me and get the W. I'm already, in my mind, y'all already fell to 1-2.
I don't think you're alone in that feeling either.
I keep it 100, and then we know we got somebody in the Dallas Eagles game going to 1-2. Man, Giants right in the mix at 0-2.
Look, I'll tell you, man. My whole perspective on this season just changed about 15 minutes ago when you put that schedule out.
That schedule looking crazy, yo. Hey, shout out Engraven Viz one time in the chat. Hey, I popped in your stream after that Ravens win, man. Ain't nothing like going to a stream for a team, especially when it's your team, after a W. It's just smiles. What they like to say? Ponies and rainbows. Unicorns and rainbows. Unicorns? Something like that, dog. But that's what it means.
That sounded like a beardism.
Yo, everybody acted all optimistic, like, man, we got it this year. You take an L like we did.
I think it's popsicles and sunshine.
No, it's rainbows 1,000%. I don't know what the other one
popsicles
is.
And rainbows?
He said it's sunshine. That's a Timism right there.
Somebody in the chat, you got to tell us what that is. Is it
unicorns and rainbows, man?
Unicorns and rainbows?
Until further notice, yo. Unicorns and rainbows, man. He said popsicles and rainbows, jumbo jet stars and rainbows.
Yo, we might have to get some popsicles and rainbows for the.
We got big news coming up next week too. We got some big news for Awthentik in the Beard. We got some big news, so y'all make sure y'all stay tuned this week. We might give you a little a taste
rainbows
of the
and lollipops.
Rainbows and lollipops.
I wasn't too far off. What did I say? Popsicles.
You said popsicles and sunshine. I told you rainbows was in it.
I can't say this one, but
Diggy said, "What's a miniature unicorn called?" Man, I don't know, dog.
Diggy, you gonna tell us, man?
He might legitimately just be asking.
Engraven said, "Drop the news."
Drop the news, not yet, not yet. Not this news has a launch to it. It's got a rollout like an album. It
is sunshine and rainbows.
Sunshine and rainbows. Maybe we was both right on that. Sunshine and rainbows. Ooh. Renee, shout out to Renee, man. Einstein's in the building one time. Rainbows and lollipops. So it's sunshine and rainbows. That sounds right. It's got the right ring to it. Sunshine and rainbows. Yeah. So we got to remember that saying for the rest of the year, man. So, man, anything else on the NFC East, man, before we put a cap on this and end this show, man? This was a good one. I thought this was going to be kind of a dry show because I already did the giant overreaction on Friday because we were so upset. This game kind of felt old, but it had a lot of good information in this one, man. Y'all got to fix it on third down, Tim. 30% on third down, 2 weeks straight. Taylor Heineke's got to fix that.
Bruh, I need a third down T-shirt. I've been talking about this third down. If you could probably put together a 5-minute clip of all the times
I like the pen. The pen says I'm about my business. Man, I'm writing things down over here, man. I'm going to work.
And look, I'm really about my business because the pen is red.
That's what's up, man.
I'm putting down some good notes. Because sometimes you gotta take notes on what the left side say.
All the time, man.
The left side make the strong side, better.
Stronger.
So,
It makes it stronger. Left side make the strong side stronger. Listen, man, I haven't said my saying in about a good couple of shows here, man.
Can you hit it?
We're not going to be optimistic. We're not going to be pessimistic. But we're going to keep it authentic, and we're going to be realistic. All right? Y'all know what it is over here, man. Don't be overgassing Daniel Jones, all right? We got to put more in the tank here before he's the guy. I need a couple of games here, but he's been playing well as of the last 8 games. Daniel Jones, man, he's definitely been balling out. I think it's only 1 turnover. They were talking about Joe Burrow, comparing him to my boy Daniel Jones, because Joe Burrow been turning that ball over. Both teams got bad offensive lines, but I hope Joe Burrow don't fall into that Tua. You know how you say his last name? I just been calling him Tua. Tagovailoa. All right, we can't have him fall into that category of just being banged up and not playing well when he's on the field, man. So I'm hoping that kid can stay healthy, and I'm hoping the Bengals can invest in that offensive line just a little bit, man. Yo, Waterfly says, I need that $9.99 soundbite, Awthentik. All right, I got you. Upgrade.
Heineke. That's gonna happen. We'll get one of those.
I feel you on that. So I need to get the $9.99. I told Tainer I need him to get into the booth and give me one of those stand up just so I can have it on the board. I need that one time. You know, and anything else y'all need on the board, let me know, man. Shoot me a business email, man, because this is real business right here. The sounds on the soundboard one time, man. But yo, we about to get up out of here, man. I guess that's it for this game. I could keep talking about this game, man. It was a thrilling game.
We could literally talk about this game for a week straight. I mean, and it was an instant classic. And like I said, you know, I was super stoked to be there for that game. And shout out to the Giants Nation, because Giants Nation was in there. They were holding it down for their team, man. And I
snuck our tickets in the Giants end zone, you know, so that you were surrounded by blue because of that, too.
Yeah, I was well aware of that situation. There was actually a Daniel Jones beating up somebody that ended up right in front of us.
They ended up kicking him out, man. Yeah, it was Eli Manning.
That was the second fight. The first one
I didn't see the first fight.
Oh, they was right there in the same 2 seats. Like, they broke it up, and then it got into the fight again.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Eli Manning, Daniel Jones, they was both up out of here, man. Great game to be at, man. We got to see Michael Irvin up close, Steve Smith up close, Joe Thomas up close. I forget the shorty's name from NFL Network. All doing their work, man. I got some really good pictures, some really good footage of them, too, man. That was a really good game to be at. Our seats were right in front of them. So right when we turned around, they was right there pretty much. My homie Al Glay got put on TV, too, on NFL Network during the game. They did a pan of all the fans. I just walked away, too. I was kind of blown about that. And shout out to the homie who pulled up on me in my section and said, "Are you authentic?" I said, of course I'm authentic. Even if I ain't the authentic you seen on the podcast, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Yeah, I'm authentic. He ain't tell me his name, but salute to that homie one time, man. Y'all make sure all the new people in the chat, man, sub up if you like the content that you've seen. And if you missed it, we talked about this earlier. Make sure y'all go check out that Kurt Warner breakdown on Daniel Jones and the Jason Garrett offense. It is fantastic. I wish I could have aired it on the show, but the way the monetization is set up, they ain't going to let us do that. So that's all good. And, you know, the way my bank account's set up, we can't be messing up with the monetization. Got to count every penny I can. All right? I'm an entrepreneur out here. I need to get this dough. But, yo, we appreciate y'all tuning in one time. Let's get some biceps in that chat before we get up out of here, man. The beard left side.
Strong side.
All right, yo. Y'all be safe out there, man. It was a good show. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.